Okay, y'all can hear my audio now. We good? The lag thing. I don't know what's going on with the lag because it's not lagging on my end. I'm not seeing any lag. It's weird. How about now? Damn it! Did I just do that shit? Sorry, that's close. Something I wasn't supposed to close. We good? Y'all can hear me now? Cool. That was weird. Maybe it was lagging because of my audio stuff. That's weird. I don't know, man. Y'all know how StreamYard be. I got beef with technology. It's in my horoscope, so you know it's true. What's going on, y'all? Man, it's been a crazy couple weeks. It's been a wild couple weeks. We're live right now on YouTube, on Rockfin, on Rumble, and on X. X, the same X owned by a certain somebody who probably received some news about, the sales or lack thereof of his cars compared to another company that also deals in EVs. I told you about BYD now, right? How many most of Mondays have we been here? And I've been talking about this damn car. I don't know, probably for more than a year or some change. Since at least since I moved to Brazil. But y'all, I've been telling y'all I'm like, I can't believe that nobody's heard of this car. And now everybody is talking about it. Bro, I was like, I told you. Call my wife. I was like, they finally figured it out. The world has finally figured it out. Bro, they became scammed by these damn Teslas. I've always said that. We're gonna talk about that though. We're gonna talk about that. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, and the reason I haven't been able to stream is because I got some news that occupy my time. It's been crazy, but it's been jovial because I'm having another child. So yeah, got crazy for a second there because we were like, oh shit, we got to get another place. Like we're in the process of moving now. It's like a whole thing. So appointments, and my first is coming up, or he just had his birthday. So birthdays, appointments, first year appointments, and bro, it's been crazy. It's really, really been crazy. Yeah, man. So having another one, dog. Yep. Crazy. I know. Dad life. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. If y'all want to help support, y'all know these kids they're like reverse ATM machines. Like it's like you put the money in and you don't ever see it again. You can support the show. You can donate through Super Chat. You can even become a patron. CashApp's in the description. Whatever you can. Anything helps, man. Because y'all know these little boy, I'm trying to tell you. There's a reason why I waited. Because Lord, baby Jesus. Don't even think about going to a restaurant. You go to a restaurant, you better be an all-you-can-eat buffet. Because all of a sudden, the same kid that won't eat nothing in the house, now he got the biggest appetite out of everybody. Yep, that's my life. But I'm excited, man. About to have 3 in total. 3. But yeah, after that, we cutting the faucet off. I can't do 4. I don't have the attention span. They don't have the attention span. None of us have the attention span. Obrigado, Zoe. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Yeah, so it's been crazy. That's why I've been able to stream, because we just been running around. And I wouldn't, if I stream, I knew I was going to slip up and say it, and I wanted to wait until my family first. So now that we told all the family, I could tell everybody else. Yeah, so appreciate it. I'm hoping, I'm praying it's a girl. I need my little princess to spoil y'all. I've been talking about it. I've been speaking it into fruition. My mom also might never let my wife in her house again if it isn't a girl. She has been waiting for her baby girl since I was a baby. This is a whole thing in my family. So yeah, but I'm shooting for a baby girl, y'all. And I feel bad for everybody else in the house because that's my princess. She getting spoiled rotten. She getting spoiled rotten. I promise you she is. Oh, I can't wait, y'all. I'm so excited. But yeah, so this has been a wild week with Signalgate, which I'm almost tempted to claim credit for because I'm definitely the person. I didn't see anyone else call it Signalgate, and then I posted my post, and then everybody started calling it Signalgate. I'm like, you little bastards. Nah, in all seriousness, this Signalgate thing with Atlantic and Jeff Goldberg, we're going to be talking about that, breaking it down. I'm going to show my hotspot video from yesterday about it, but then we're going to talk about the new developments because it's important to talk about for various reasons. We're also going to talk about the conversation that Glenn Greenwald and Saager and Jetty had about just the immigration conversation in general. It was, I just want to say, like, out the gate, because some people, I guess, were dissing Saager for his point of view, and I don't agree with his point of view, but I will say that I do respect the fact that he had Glenn on and actually listened to him rather than arguing with him and cussing at him like we would have saw on that other show on the Hill, because Glenn actually got to make some good points, and Saager was open and honest about like the fact that it was hard for him to accept those points, not because they weren't true, but because instead it was actually going to require a visceral emotional adjustment to how he views the issue, which is actually, when you get down to the nitty gritty of it all, like the root of why most people can't change their minds is because they're not willing to admit that particular fact, like that they're wrestling with that thought. So it was a great conversation, but we're gonna break down the points from both sides in a few clips. We're going to talk about this BYD outselling Tesla. We got to. I'm standing on business. Y'all, I have not bought a car in Brazil since I moved. I've lived here for over 2 years now. I haven't bought a car because when I thought about buying a car, I finally had my first magical ride in a BYD via an Uber. I said, yo, what is this? This looks like a Tesla, but so much better. And this man was like, oh, it's called the one I wrote in was called a Dolphin. He didn't know how to pronounce it, but he was like, yeah. So that's BYD in Portuguese, basically. And I was like, what the fuck? I looked it up. Like, yo, this car is amazing. Dog. To this day, because you have to, even with the hybrid, you actually have to get them to come to your house to install the what do you call it? Outlet. So like, I haven't even gotten one yet. Like I want the BYD that I want. That's why I haven't gotten a car yet, because I love this damn car so much, and I've been telling y'all about it. I've been telling y'all, okay? So I'm not gonna let an opportunity pass up where I get to talk about it as a news story, and everybody finally sees the joy that I've been seeing. Boy, every time I get a BYD for Uber, boy, I be so hyped. So we're gonna talk about that. And we're gonna talk about, what else we're gonna talk about? I got some news that's potentially wild for veterans that's coming down the pipeline from the Trump administration that has not been necessarily made public yet. Somebody actually passed it to me, I guess, and maybe a couple of other journalists, to break the news because it's still in federal courts. So it's nuts. So we're gonna talk about that and a few more things, but let's do some shout outs real quick. We're gonna get the show on the road. Eric, what's going on, Eric? Pete Hegseth needs to be deported to El Salvador prison. He's a terrorist crusader tattoo. He has terrorist crusader tattoos. Man, he need to be deported for other reasons. It was that Signal group chat, y'all, and we're gonna talk about it. It's a lot of stuff wrong with it. Just the fact that it was sensitive information, probably classified information that was passed alongside through a group chat. That's one thing. Then the way that Jeff Goldberg covered, that's a whole different thing. Then it's like when you read the messages leading up to the attack, it's worse. So Justin Watson, what's going on? Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Aaron, thank you very much. Mouse, Dana, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Girl dad here. My baby is everything. Little girls are the sweet. Boy, I'm trying to tell you, my wife is not happy. She's already like, oh, man, I don't want another girl in the house. Because she knows. She already knows what's coming. My baby can't do no wrong. She's only going to ever need me. I know it's not true, but that's how, that's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. Like, I'll make sure she'll ever need nobody else. You want to live here until you're 60, baby girl? Go ahead. That's fine with me. All right. First, let's find my most recent hotspot video, so we can get y'all caught up on Signalgate if y'all have not seen it yet. Hey man, Christian, so don't do that. Don't do that. Why you on? I appreciate the super chat. Don't. What's going on with the selection in Brazil? We're talking about the international team, y'all. If y'all missed it, Brazil lost 4-1 against Argentina in a World Cup qualifier. It was not a fun. I went to the damn. I went to the supermarket this morning, bro. Everybody was pissed. And usually I get about 10 or 15 bonjours when I get to the cash register. Dog, I'm in there and no one is talking to anybody. They're all pissed because of what because they already don't, Brazilians and Argentinians don't really get along that well. So there's already that. There's already that animus between them. And the way we got beat, and it just I don't want to talk about it. Then Neymar can't even keep his dick in his pants. That's a whole different conversation. Anyway, hold up. Why am I don't know why it was showing like a rectangle. I'm trying to square it up. Why am I looking so small? Give me 1 second. Yeah, I need to try to make this a little bit bigger. For some reason. Whatever, we'll go with that. So yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's check out this instead.
To a group chat on Signal where Trump's administration was discussing attacking Yemen. And let me just say, as a journalist and as a general political observer, this is one of the strangest stories that I have ever heard. Okay, so boom. Goldberg looks at his notifications and realizes he's in the middle of a group chat of the most important members of Trump's cabinet regarding national security decisions. Because it turns out, in all of his wisdom and technological competence, Mike Waltz accidentally added him thinking that he was somebody else. Now, Goldberg, as a journalist, is in the middle of a group chat where they're discussing attacking Yemen hours before it happens. And as a journalist, any real journalist, bro, you're foaming at the mouth to report this news. I mean, they weren't just discussing Yemen. There was actually an ongoing debate where J.D. Vance was challenging the idea that attacking Yemen was actually in the best interest of the United States, or was it in the best interest of other people who had nothing to do with the United States and had nothing to contribute if we did successfully attack Yemen? Yeah, in other words, J.D. Vance was effectively saying, yeah, I know Israel wants us to do this, but I don't see how this really helps us. I mean, and the fact that J.D. Vance had to have that conversation in the group chat because he probably was scared to have it privately is news in and of itself. But no, Goldberg finding out the news that the United States was going to attack Yemen, and that there was a whole debate about it on March 15th, hours before the attack took place, decided to wait until March 24th to break the news, and only really wanted to do so to say that there's a massive security breach and they're texting in a Signal app that you can download on your phone. That's the real story. And you have people like Ian Bremmer saying that you got to give props to Goldberg for his high standards of professional journalism, because he immediately left and informed a relevant senior official and made the public aware without disclosing intelligence that could damage the United States. See, we got two different definitions of a professional journalist, because a real professional journalist in a situation like that is just going to sit back, be quiet, be a fly on the wall, and report everything that happens in that group chat anonymously from whatever publication they can. But instead, the man goes and dry snitches on himself to the Trump administration. And do you know how he gets rewarded for being a good little imperialist Zionist lapdog? The Trump administration basically comes out in full force and attacks him. When Trump gets asked about the leaks during a press conference, he's like, I don't know anything about it. Not a big fan of the Atlantic. Heard it's a magazine that's going out of business. Hold on, what did you say? Just immediately insults the dude and insults the Atlantic magazine.
Your reaction to the story in the Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of the Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis, you mean the attack on the Houthis?
Right.
Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
Pete Hegseth said that Goldberg has mischaracterized the situation and that nobody was texting war plans, despite the fact that we all saw the text of the war plan.
Those details shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Now, as a journalist who would have loved to be in a situation like that, I was curious as to why Goldberg would be so adamant about not reporting this information until weeks after it actually mattered. Yeah, so it turns out that Goldberg at one point actually left an Ivy League university to go be part of the IDF and be a prison guard, where he admitted in his memoirs that he helped cover up serious prisoner abuse. As another revealing testament to his journalistic credibility, he allowed, as editor-in-chief, the publication of an article called The Great Fake Child Sex Trafficking Epidemic in 2021, after the Epstein trials. Oh, and here's a picture of the owner of the Atlantic hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell, but I'm sure the two have absolutely nothing to do with each other. So, like, Goldberg, what did you gain from this? Because now you're just about to be a pariah for the Trump administration and lose all access. Any journalist with a single iota of self-respect for their craft will no longer take you seriously after snitching on yourself instead of riding that train. And I don't know if Trump was telling the truth about the Atlantic possibly going out of business, but now everybody's spending the entire day exposing your ass because you opened your mouth looking for attention 10 days later instead of saying what should have been said when you got the information. So you're probably going out of business sometime soon because ain't nobody going to take y'all seriously anymore. Let this be a lesson to all of y'all. If you want to avoid a train wreck like this shit in the future, don't be like Jeff Goldberg. Report the news when it's supposed to be reported, not when you think it's the most convenient for your Zionist convictions.
So, y'all, this whole situation is nuts because, so you got to think about, first of all, the context of Trump's response. The context of Trump's response, where he's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. Goldberg admits, he admits that he informed the White House staff immediately. So, like, you did know what they were talking about. Why they, like, the reaction was so, bro, this is the most defensive, childish reaction. What are you talking about? That's a magazine to me. It's going out of business. Fuck those guys. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, but what'd you say? Sorry. It was about what? Why are you so defensive about them if you didn't even hear the question, supposedly? And if you don't know what they're talking about? No, I couldn't believe, well, no, I could. But I couldn't believe how Biden-esque that reaction was. You know, because basically Trump has been becoming the very person he spent 4 years or so insulting. Like, that's a gay if I've ever heard one. Especially because, bro, you know, if they're asking about the Atlantic and the White House staff has already been privy that he got this in, because it wasn't like we found out a couple of days ago. Us, not them. They been knew. And nobody game planned for this shit. No, you're trying to tell me, y'all, that no one thought it would be a bright idea to sit down. You know, they already got a group chat. Shit, maybe you could did in the group chat. At least that wouldn't be classified information. But nobody thought it would be a bright idea to sit down, have a conversation. Yo, how are we going to deal with this? Because he's going to come out with this information. And even though it won't put any lives in danger because he won't come out with it until after because he's a Zionist imperialist lapdog, like, this is going to be a media firestorm. This is going to be a shitstorm. No one thought it was a bright idea because everybody's response is contradicting. Some people are denying shit. Like, I'm like, hold up, you telling me that y'all didn't even see, y'all ain't got no staff guys, like with Hexeth and Tulsi and others who are like, what do you mean? There was no like specifics given. You mean except for the super specific shit? And we're going to look at some of the stuff that was said, especially from the day, because I'm telling you guys, I was a paralegal in the military. And anybody who knows how the military works, like if you're a nurse, you're basically a doctor. You just don't get to pay. Same thing with paralegal. When you're a paralegal, you're basically the lawyer. You just have to do all the work and you get none of the pay. And if something messes up, then all the responsibility is still on you. Yeah, great stuff. That's one of the reasons I got out. But in all seriousness, I saw someone go, I had to sit through, I was part of it, an Article 32 hearing, which is like basically the proceedings right before you try to kick somebody out if they're an officer and for conduct unbecoming. And it was because he accidentally sent a photo of himself with his shirt off to his wife through his encrypted email instead of his regular email. It was like just, he was tired of shit. It was like super late. And they tried to kick this man out the military for it, saying it jeopardized national security. And they tried to strip him of his security clearance for that. He didn't even send any information. Had nothing to do with the mission whatsoever. Just because he sent it encrypted, it was like the justification was his wife knew his encrypted email now, and his wife could leak, but if it's encrypted, it shouldn't even matter. But that's a whole different conversation. And I'm looking through all this, and I know, like, I got family and friends who've been in the military or are in the military or worked in intelligence, and they're like, or know people who've been kicked out or penalized for worse or for less, and they're like, bro, there ain't no fucking way. There is no way. Because what we're hearing, what we're going to listen to is not only are they leaking the sensitive information, right? Leaking what under any normal circumstance would be considered classified information, but they're committing perjury while they lied. They got it in front of Congress and they're like, what are you talking about? We didn't leak shit. We didn't say that. We didn't do that. There were no specifics given. There was no sensitive information given. What? It's like, y'all do know we can see this shit, right? Y'all do know we can literally see the messages. And it's, that said, it seemed like there was no game plan involved, but whatever. So I want to read you guys the most recent updates because, like I said, Goldberg, I guess that he didn't really like the way they responded. Like I said, he was a good little lapdog, man. I guess he thought that the Trump administration was going to look out for him. Yeah, instead, they all threw him under the bus. They were like, nah, fuck that guy. So he was like, oh, word, that's how it's going to go down? Well, I'm going to drop some more information. But once again, like a good little lapdog, he got permission first. And I really don't think that he understands how being a journalist works, bro. When you get the information, because I feel like, before we read this, I feel like, as a journalist, I know that I'm aware of like all the perils of being a journalist. I'm aware of that. Which is why, like, if you're going to drop this shit, you might as well do it in the most stand-up way possible, like with the most journalistic integrity possible. Because either way, you could end up hemmed up, even if you didn't do anything illegal, right? What did WikiLeaks do? They published information that they received, that's not illegal, it's not unethical. It's actually what you're supposed to do as a journalist. As a publisher, you're not supposed to be held liable, but they tried to do that anyway or in to some degree they did with Julian Assange, right? Everybody named mama right now in the Trump administration are trying to claim that none of this was classified, none of this is sensitive, blah, 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 didn't jeopardize the mission, et cetera, et cetera. So what you're saying is if you would have leaked it before, not classified, not sensitive, even though it actually could have, given the Houthis a tactical advantage, but they're saying, so technically speaking, he would have gotten off scot-free, or he should have gotten off scot-free based off of their definition of classified, which is completely moved in my time, since my time out of the military, apparently. So, but look at what he then drops today. It's going to be hard for y'all to see, so I'm going to read it to you. So he says, team establishing a principles group. Yes, a Houthi PC smoker. Bro, even with Houthi PC smoker, even the name of the motherfucker, y'all couldn't even be kind of creative with the name so it don't look like y'all talking about some sensitive shit. But hey, whatever. Team, Mike Waltz, establishing a principles group for coordination on Houthis. Particularly, remember how they said it was super general? Clearly it's particularly for the next 72 hours, my deputy Alex Wong is pulling together a tiger team of deputies, agency chief of staff level, following up the meeting in the sit room this morning for action items, and we'll be sending that out later this evening. Please provide the best staff POC from your team for us to coordinate with over the next couple of days in the weekend. Yeah, man. Oh man, this is okay. So hold on. This is the thing that is most interesting to me. These texts right here, because this is a continuation of what we saw in the first group of messages, where JD Vance was openly challenging the idea that this had nothing to do with the U.S. interest. It doesn't help us, and it seemed like he was doing so in the group because he didn't want to say it to Trump's face, and he wanted to get a feel on how the group felt so that he didn't have to challenge Trump by himself. And so it seems to be a few people in this group are feeling this way, right? So there is nothing time sensitive driving this line. We'll have we'll have the exact same options in a month. The Israelis will likely take strikes and therefore ask us for more support to replenish whatever they use against the Houthis. But that's a minor factor. It's always a minor factor, right? I will send you the unclassified data we pulled on BAM shipping. From CIA perspective, we are mobilized. First of all, if you just don't say no. CIA, y'all whole job to be secret. This motherfucker. Hey man, so like from a CIA super important intelligence perspective that no one is supposed to be knowing about, but we're gonna say, I just want to make sure everybody knows it's the CIA talking right now. We are mobilizing assets to support now, but a delay would not negatively impact us. Additional time would be used to identify better starting points for coverage on Houthi leadership. Oh, by the way, did y'all hear about Jackson Hinkle being with the Houthis in Yemen right before the Houthi leader was killed? I don't know. Just putting that information out there. So Hegseth says, it's Hegseth, y'all. Because remember what JD Vance said. Like I said, he said it's not really in America's interest. And he doesn't see how this materially helps the U.S. by attacking the Houthis right now. I understand your concerns and fully support your raising the concerns with the president. Important considerations, most of which are tough to know how they play out: economy, Ukraine, peace, Gaza, etc. I think messaging is going to be tough no matter what. Nobody knows who the Houthis are, which is why we would need to stay focused on one. Biden failed. Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very general duh. I don't know. What does that mean? Like, failed at what? destroying the Houthis? Because that's like the only thing you can really. I mean, he failed at everything. So it's like, if you're doing targeted messaging, I'm not really sure what you're trying to say there, but that's generally how sycophants. That's generally the messaging that sycophants would chew on. So I guess that's like maybe his point. I don't know. But 2, which is the most interesting one, Iran funded. Which is so this is Pete Hegseth saying this, which is why we need to focus on 1, Biden failed, and 2, Iran funded. That's so what is the messaging on this? Because he's not Hegseth. Let me finish reading this and I'm gonna explain why that shit is so sinister. So he says, waiting a few weeks or a month does not fundamentally change the calculus. 2, immediate risk on waiting. This leaks and we look indecisive. Sorry. Irony, right? Israel takes an action first. He said that's a risk. So there are people within the administration who actually don't even want Israel to react. Don't want Israel involved. Don't want Israel to do anything in this situation. Okay? Or Gaza ceasefire falls apart. And we don't get to start this on our own terms. We can manage both. Spoiler alert. They did not manage both successfully. All right, we are prepared to execute. And if I had final go or no go vote, I believe we should. This is not about Houthis. I repeat, Pete Hegseth admits this is not about Houthis. He says, I see this as 2 things: restoring freedom of navigation, a core national interest, and reestablish deterrence, which Biden cratered. What deterrent? What deterrent? Ladies and gentlemen, what is he talking about? What deterrent? Okay. So do you know what is most sinister about Hegseth, former Fox News contributor, in his true propagandist form? He admits that all that, y'all remember how they ran headline after headline? Because we were like, why? I know why y'all are attacking the Houthis, but like, why? Like, I know why, but why now? Basically is where I was at with it. Because remember, they did try to attack the Houthis a couple years, last year, I think, in a couple years, basically when all this started. They tried to attack the Houthis. It did not go well. The U.S. tried to form a coalition to take them down. Everybody was like, hell, you can deal with that shit yourself. We not getting involved because they out here busting people's ass. Remember? Didn't work out well. So in the middle of a ceasefire deal, why would you all of a sudden have this idea that it's beneficial to the United States or anybody involved to attack the Houthis? Especially when other people in the chat are like, this doesn't really benefit us. I'm not really sure why we're doing this. And so Hegseth is like basically acknowledging, the messaging would be difficult. Why would the messaging be difficult? That would be the next question. Why would the messaging be difficult? Oh, because nobody knows who the Houthis are. Okay, also, why won't you just say it's about freedom of navigation? Oh, because then you have to explain to people why the Houthis are impeding navigation. Why are they impeding navigation to Israel? Because Israel is still committing a genocide. Okay, yeah, most of the country doesn't agree with that, including MAGA. Right? Yeah, there's a sycophants online, but the majority of the country does not agree with that. So you would then have to explain why the Houthis, the quote unquote terrorists, are somehow the terrorists, and why you are protecting the country. Why are you doing the dirty work of the country that's still committing a genocide? Yeah, I imagine that messaging wouldn't land well. So he decides to fearmonger and say that we're doing this because of Iran. Think about that. You're willing to stoke the flames of war with one of the most powerful countries in the world militarily for messaging? For messaging. You don't even really believe You don't even really believe Iran's a threat. You did not attack the Houthis because they were funded. But you know, because Americans, the average American has been conditioned to hear Iran funded must be a terrorist. So that's why they do that, right? That's why they say, really, when it's really the United States funded, it's definitely a terrorist. But that's what they say. And that's how they know people have been trained to react. So he lied. The Biden failed. I don't even understand, like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, did he fail to take out all the Houthis? They still haven't taken out all the Houthis. You might have taken out a leader, but like, they got other people, I'm sure. But all of that led to at least 25 civilians being killed, including 4 children. Right? So you admit it wasn't in national interest. We also know that they did not want Israel to attack or react, which is kind of weird and strange because none of them say anything like this out in the open. None of them have said anything close to that. I mean, J.D. Vance always talks about Europe like, kind of sucking the teeth of the United States. Like, that's kind of a talking point for him. But for him, it's kind of almost, I guess, somewhat refreshing to know that he actually has that. That's not a talking point for him. He actually believes that. He believes like we shouldn't be paying for Europe's whatever version of imperialism they're pushing. Like, he doesn't want us to pay their bills. And I agree with that. And it was almost like I said, surprising and refreshing to see that he actually does feel that way. And he was willing to challenge people in the group on it. And other people agree with him. But like, that's not the message from everybody else that we got whenever they decided to attack the Houthis. They instead decided to fearmonger. They lied. Bro, so basically we're learning, even though Jeff Goldberg is a fucking coward, he should have released this hours. I'm trying to tell you, bro, y'all wouldn't even have known it was me until probably like several months later. Because I would have leaked it I wouldn't have leaked it through my own media source. I'll tell you that. Can't do that because everybody probably figure it out. But I would have leaked it to somebody. And I would have like, but y'all give me credit. And y'all gonna have to. Now, don't give me the credit now, but whenever I come public, don't be trying to play me now, okay? So, because I'm gonna chill here like a fly on the wall, like I said. You said what time? And y'all gonna use what weapons? And you don't even believe this is really gonna help us? For real? Damn, word. Until they kick me out or until they figure it out. And I would have been sitting to outlet to outlet to outlet. And it would have been hard for them to figure out who was doing it. I would look. That type of info, because I would have got it, bro, you get that out quick. As a journalist, you get that out quick. You don't pull yourself out the group chat and snitch on yourself to the White House. Yeah, I'm telling on myself. I don't, you know me, I don't, everybody knows what I'm going to tell. As a journalist, it's your job to snitch. And especially as an anti-imperialist, it's definitely my job it's my job to snitch as a journalist. Y'all know I'm 100% against snitching, but as on a political tip, no, snitching is cool, guys. Snitching is cool when you're a journalist. But in all seriousness, like, we saw that these people don't even believe the bullshit. We know that they didn't believe the bullshit, but we got an inside look that there are situations where people, because from the text message that we saw before and what we saw today that got released, and I'm gonna pull y'all up really quick, the interview, or one of the interviews that Jeff Goldberg did talking about this. But from what we saw, we see that, oh shit, you telling me everybody can know that this is actually counterproductive actually to United States interests. Oh, they know that Israel's a problem. They're aware of it. Yes, do we know that? Yeah, but we saw it in action. We saw it leading up. We saw it being discussed in the planning before the attacks on the Houthis. They knew that Israel is unpredictable, problematic, could be a potential danger to American interests. They know that this primarily and principally only benefits Europe and Israel. In the other text messages, they were like, we have to hope that we get some benefit from this later on from Europe because we're really not getting anything from doing this right now. That they said that. And yet they went along with the attack anyway. And Hegseth came up with a way to justify it to the American people and lie. And I remember that day seeing, you know how the propagandists do. Well, those are Iran funded, Iran funded. The Shapiros of the world, all the cultists, Iran funded. How many times do we hear that on the days of the attacks against Yemen? Iran funded. Operation Mockingbird. But like if what you're doing is good, I'm not okay. No, I won't say like if what you're doing is good, everybody will get them. But like you don't worry about messaging really if what you're doing is right. You get what I'm saying? Like you don't. If I'm stationed in Israel, bro. I'm sorry. Like, sorry, we're not going to support genocide because most Americans we cool with not giving aid anyway. Right? Most of us are like if you want to get, because we know what our aid is going to for the most part, and it's nothing good. But we got our own problems at home. Like during the pandemic, we had to fight to get a couple $1,000s of our own goddamn money that we gave them to use. Break glass in case of emergency, bitch. I need the money. We had to fight to get our own money. So we damn sure don't want to go out the country, but especially not to support a genocide. If that was your message, then you wouldn't have really had to worry about it. But like you had to lie because you knew your message was shit. Y'all didn't have a justification, not really. And so this is the anti-war. This is the pro-peace administration. This is the administration because y'all got it kind of right on Russia and Ukraine. Still haven't really figured that out. Not really, but you got it kind of right on Russia and Ukraine. Marco Rubio's over here talking about, so we have a president that's supporting peace and pro-peace. Y'all are getting it wrong in literally every other aspect of international policy and coming up with inventive ways to lie about why you're going to war and why you're bombing civilians and why you're attacking people trying to prevent and stand up to genocide. You're lying about it. You are Biden. So you're Biden minus Russia. Yes, we know the Biden fucking mafia family ran the Ukraine situation. That's the only difference. I'm sure at this point, if Trump was running that situation, if he had a bunch of shit invested, it would look the same. That I'm convinced at this point. Because they're not even making policy decisions based on U.S. interests. They admitted it. They can't even really give you a prediction on if it will positively or negatively impact us. Come on, bro. What are we talking about? Let's check out a quick clip from Goldberg's perspective.
We are breaking here and with breaking news about the security breach where the Atlantic magazine's Jeffrey Goldberg was added to a text thread about U.S. military plans to strike Houthi militias in Yemen. Well, the administration officials involved, who are among the highest ranking in the U.S. government, insist no classified information was shared. Moments ago, a follow-up. Goldberg posted a follow-up piece entitled, "Here are the attack plans that Trump's advisors shared on Signal." He writes in part this: the statements by Hegseth, Gabbard, Ratcliffe, and Trump combined.
I just got to say, like, when he selected the name of that article, that was to be petty. That was entirely to be petty. He's like, because everybody was saying what? There was no attacks discussed. There were no plans discussed. That's a lie. He's like, yeah, so anyway, here are all the attack plans that were discussed. You lying motherfuckers. Y'all not about to leave me out here to dry. Gonna cut me off and then try to set me up. Oh, bro, I love when the empire be fighting with themselves.
With the assertions made by numerous administration officials that we are lying about the context of the Signal texts have led us to believe that people should see the text in order to reach their own conclusions, and then laid out in this latest piece, which broke just now in The Atlantic, Jonathan Lemire. Everyone can see the text for themselves.
Yeah, the screenshots of the text are included in this piece that Jeffrey Goldberg and Shane Harris just posted on the Atlantic's website. We'll go through a little bit of it now. The White House, as you just mentioned, has insisted time and again, two things: that nothing in here was classified and that no war plans were included. Well, as Jeffrey and Shane write, take a look for yourself. I'll read a little bit of it here. These are texts from Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, talking about at 11:44 Eastern that day. Weather is favorable. Just confirmed with CENTCOM, we are a go for mission launch. 12:15 texts in this chat. F-18's launch. Declares this the first strike package. At 1:45, talks about how the trigger-based strike window begins. Target terrorist is at known location. As here we are here. Second strike at 15:36. More to follow. We're currently clean on OPSEC. Of course, Secretary of Defense.
Y'all, I cannot begin to explain to y'all. I'm laughing because I know somebody literally was laughing but pissed because they accidentally sent some shit to the wrong email the other day and got him the fuck up. And they're high ranking. And they're like, bro, like they over here threatening to kick me out because it got resolved. But like, he's like, they're threatening me to kick me out over some shit. And it wasn't even secret information that I sent. Like, but it was just sensitive. And they were talking about kicking me out. And they're like, yeah, no, this isn't classified. What? Oh, so the type of weapon you're going to use, when you plan on doing it, if it was successful, location, like none of that's classified. If that's not classified information, then why the fuck do we even have, like, why do we have clearance at this point? Bro, the gaslighting is crazy. And then for y'all to be like, there was no specific plans. Nobody game plan, y'all. Nobody thought it was when it got found out, because Goldberg said he told people at the White House. When it got figured out that he had this information, no one had a group meeting and was like, yo, we should probably figure out how to deal with this before it happens. Wow. I guess that's what happens when you hire Fox fucking News analysts.
And declares they're clean on OPSEC in a text chain read by the editor of The Atlantic, who was inadvertently added to that group. And we'll note a short time later, we have further updates from Michael Waltz, the National Security Advisor, who talks about how the target has been hit, declaring positive identifications. So these would seem to me, the very definition of attack plans. And I've already talked to a former Pentagon official who says, reading these screenshots hurriedly, of course, everything in here would be classified.
And leading up to that, of course, a lot of debate about it openly on Signal. Joining us now, Editor-in-Chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg.
But did y'all really need a Pentagon official to confirm that everything in that Signal group would be classified, guys? Did y'all need somebody from the Pentagon to confirm that, or like does common sense kick in at some point?
Jeffrey, would you like to talk a little bit more about the decision to release these?
Well, sure. Well, first of all, we didn't do this lightly. And all yesterday, we were asking our contacts across the administration, national security complex, CIA, DNI, et cetera, do you have any, since the president has declared this unclassified, and since the DNI, since the head of the CIA said there's nothing sensitive or nothing classified in these documents, we just want to make sure that you don't have specific objections to this kind of information going out in public. The White House issued us an anodyne statement late last night saying they think that some of this is sensitive and they would rather not have it out there, but there was no objections to specific details.
See, that's that bullshit. So in other words, once again, you had information, you were sitting on it. The only reason you didn't release it low key is because you wrote that you had, like, he literally, the way, if you look at the first article and look at his interviews from yesterday, it was kind of clear that he had enough text messages to back up anything he claimed and had intentions on releasing it. But like, once again, you out here getting permission from the perpetrator. You are the fourth estate, sir. You heard them, all of them were like, nope, it's not classified. It's not classified. It's not competent. It's not classified. Okay, cool. If the DNI says it, if the fucking CIA director says it, okay, fine. Y'all said it, not me. Here you go. But nope. once again, being a good little fucking lapdog for the empire, had to check in with his bros to make sure that it was okay to let everybody see those messages. That's why I can't respect it. I'm not giving you fucking credit for being accidentally added to a group chat and then sending the messages to the world 2 weeks later just to get attention. He was like, oh yeah, the biggest story here is that there was classified information. The classified information is a big ass deal, but that's not even the biggest part of the story. That's not even the biggest part of the story. It's the lying, you knew in advance that Pete Hegseth had put together a messaging campaign or was putting together a messaging campaign to lie and intend to deceive the public in order to justify and get support to attack Yemen because they're trying to do whatever they can to impede the genocide in Gaza. And you didn't do anything with that information. You sat on that shit. I got zero respect for you. As a journalist, as a person, hell, even as a hustler, bro, like even as a finesser, like what? Let me talk about everything after the fact. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. I'm trying to tell you, if I was in that damn chat.
We did redact one piece of information because we felt.
I would even like change my initials to like random people like in the chat and just put my opinion, but not respond to anyone who responds to my opinion. And just to see what the opinions of other people are and just keep moving to make it hard to follow, but to get more information, like how y'all feel about it. So we can know how everybody felt. Boy, I'm telling you, look,
on our own that we felt it was best to do, and the CIA asked us. But, at a certain point, the administration is saying that there's nothing classified or secret or sensitive in these. So at a certain point, I just felt, let our readers decide for themselves. Read these texts that I got sitting in my car on my phone in a Safeway parking lot 2 hours before the attack launched. And you tell me if this seems like good operational security. And really, I really mean it. Let the readers decide.
Right. And Jonathan Lemire, two issues here. Of course, that Jeffrey was included on this. And there have been accusations made over the airwaves, I believe by Mike Waltz, that there was some sort of foul play on Jeffrey's part. I'd love Jeffrey to respond to that. But also,
bro, his boy threw him under the bus. That's why, like, let's be real, y'all. That's why he dropped these messages. That's really why he dropped. It's because they threw him under the bus, despite the fact he did everything he could to be a loyal little lapdog. And he's like, yo, I didn't even go hard on y'all. Like I could have, and I still didn't. And like I said, I don't know what Goldberg's goal was, maybe to get more attention, but that just led to him getting exposed. Like I said, like the IDF shit, you being a prison guard, you witnessing prison abuse and not doing anything about it. Like, come on, bro.
The fact that this was on Signal is a big issue as well.
Yeah. So Jeffrey, let's start there. You've heard President of the United States called you a sleazebag. Members of his top officials in his administration used similar terminology to describe you and your reporting here. So first, just respond to that, and we'll go from there.
Well, I mean, it's kind of rude. First, they invite me to their Signal chat, and then they call me names. That doesn't seem right. And I've seen these.
You pretend like he ain't salty about that, but that motherfucker's salty about that. He's mad.
I mean, I get it. Mike Waltz is looking for the real killer. The simple truth of the matter is, on March 11th, Mike Waltz sent me a message request on Signal, and I accepted it. That's the entire story. I mean, there's no daring do here. But
to be clear, if he accepted it, then he wasn't accidentally added, right? Am I off base here? If you got accidentally added to a group and you don't recognize the group, like I leave immediately, or like I'm like, I don't know these motherfuckers, or I text the person, hey, did you mean to add me to this? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, if you accepted the invitation from Mike Waltz of all people, then it wasn't an accident. You knew what you were doing, which would even be worse. Like, so you knew you were going to get access to sensitive information. You had access 2 hours beforehand, and you didn't do anything. Hell, even if he had to like do his due diligence to verify and all that stuff, and it took an extra, like he took 3 hours instead of 2 hours before the attack, and he puts out the information as soon as he could after doing all of his due diligence. Like that, I would have even respected that more. But nope, that's not what you did. You punked out, and you made it. And now it's a story about something that happened 2 weeks ago. Whenever they admitted, if this information would have got out earlier, there's a good chance that everything would have had to be rescheduled, pushed back. The Houthis could have actually protected themselves, protected civilians. Like, just saying.
Entirely passively accepted his request to connect on Signal. I'm not going to comment on my relationship with Mike Waltz. He's been saying unserious and unkind things about me. That's okay. But you know, the story is the story.
Yeah.
March 11th, he reached out. March 13th, I'm added to the Houthi PC small group. March 15th, they announced to the small group before.
Okay, so he says on March 13th, he reached out and then he was added. So like, now it makes you wonder. That's like kind of, he said that really casually, but like, hold on. So like, there's a lead up to this that isn't being discussed either. So he reached out to you. He then added you to a group chat accidentally. You accept it purposely though. You get added accidentally, but accept it purposely. You hang out there to get just enough information. Then you take screenshots of all this super important information. Then you leave the group chat and then inform the White House that you were added, supposedly. And then a week and some change, a little bit more than that later, then you tell everybody, oh yeah, by the way, this is what happened. That sequence of events is a little bit suspect. It's almost like maybe Mike Waltz wanted him to be there, and now he got to save face, right? Because can't let everybody know that you did it on purpose. But maybe something happened where Mike Waltz didn't agree with the decision. I don't know. I can't really, because Mike Waltz look like a bitch. He don't look like he would ever stand up to Trump. So maybe he's like, yeah, I'm about to go ahead. Maybe this will get leaked in. Because they knew I don't care how many people pretend to be loyal to Israel, right? I really don't care, because we all know it's bullshit. The majority of people are not that, like, the most powerful people. The majority of the most powerful people are not loyal to Israel. They are scared of Israel. The caricature of Israel, the country. They're not even scared of Netanyahu necessarily. He is just another puppet who can be removed. A little bit more difficult because this motherfucker is psychopathic, but a puppet nonetheless. They're not scared, or they don't support Israel. They don't even believe necessarily that it's in America's best interest. They're terrified of Israel. And they know that. So maybe Mark Waltz was like, hey man, so I'm gonna put you in this motherfucker. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, because maybe they had a conversation beforehand. Hey, try to put this shit off because I'm not trying to have this get thrown on me. I'm really not. This is not a good look. And they're not gonna listen to me. And I can't really say it publicly because Israel, they like taking out people's kids and family members and shit if they can't get to you. And I was at the Diddy parties too. You never know, right? But the lead up is strange because he said that he reached out to him. So, and he said it really casually. Like, I feel like that should be digged into a little bit more, right? I don't know.
The attack occurs, that the attack is occurring and what weapons they're using. And then I began the process of writing up what I thought was a story about a massive security breach at the highest levels of the United States government. That's the story.
Yeah, it is a massive security breach, although I think the one positive here is that readers can decide for themselves. There is
the one positive here, and this is the purpose of journalism, because it's like we discovered something the government was doing that was wrong and dangerous, and they could have responded by saying, "Yeah, we."
What was it? What was the government doing that was wrong and dangerous? Was it lying about attacking a group trying to impede a genocide after a ceasefire was violated, by the way? Oh no, it was about leaking sensitive. Like, your priorities are fucked. Your priorities are fucked. Like, that's why, like, that's not why you leaked this. Don't give me the journalism stick, bro. Like, that's what journalism for. I did this for journalism. Shut the fuck up.
Shouldn't have been on Signal. We won't do it again.
Right.
That would have been an easy way to deal with this.
It would have been a lot easier than the way they're dealing with it now, because they have a lot of different conflicting stories that they're putting out there. Also, I think trying to defame your character to an extent, and I take issue with that. And Jonathan, on top of it,
so that's his opinion about the situation. And I just gotta show y'all some of I'm just gonna let her talk because Jesus Christ, it's embarrassing. It's getting embarrassing, y'all.
I don't want to get into the specifics. Ma'am, were you on? You're not going to be willing to address. So you're not. Are you denying? Matt, will you answer my question, ma'am? You were not TG on this group chat. I'm not going to get into the specifics. So you refuse to acknowledge whether you were on this group chat. Senator, I'm not going to get into the specifics. Why are you going to get into the specifics? Is it because it's all classified? Because this is currently under review by the National Security. Because it's all classified? If it's not classified, share the text now.
Yeah.
As the White House previously Is it classified or non-classified information on this text? I can confirm.
Bruh. Come on, bro. What we talking about, Tulsi? You trying to tell me you the director of national fucking intelligence, Tulsi? You the director of national intelligence. And like I said, I didn't really have high hopes for other reasons. Not even really, but like I know for a fact that you're an intelligent human being, to a fault to some degree, because I feel like you know how to manipulate the public in a way that can keep you climbing in the ranks of politics. But you weren't smart enough to, as a DNI, director of national fucking intelligence, to not, like, you did not only not tell them, hey bro, like, don't do this, but you were in the group chat. You were in the group chat. Bruh. You're not inspiring hope. Okay, Tulsi? You're not inspiring. People, the ones who still support you, feel like you're really intelligent, that you are commonsensical, that you're going to, say the right thing and do the right thing in the most pivotal moments. And your ass wasn't just letting these motherfuckers. I mean, and Ratcliffe, obviously, but, the CIA, they actually not that smart to begin with. Like, I don't really have any confidence in the CIA at all. I feel like they purposely hired dumb motherfuckers. But you were picked, allegedly, by many people's standards, because you're not dumb. Because you were, despite their disagreements with you, they're like, yo, man, she's intelligent. And you weren't intelligent enough to be like, shit, if y'all need to get in contact with me about this shit, y'all need to email me, dog. And matter of fact, cut this shit off now. Everybody, I'm telling. No, I don't gotta tell. I am the person you tell. Cut it off. That's your job. You're not just there to analyze national intelligence. You're the motherfucking director. You direct shit. Direct these motherfuckers to close the chat. And now after everything has gone down, as a director of national intelligence, while you're being questioned, you're out here kowtowing and dodging. Like, you don't look like you're directing shit. You look like you're being ordered around. You look like you have no control over your intelligence community, over the information being passed that could directly implicate your job in the perception of how you're doing your duty. You look like a deer caught in the fucking headlights. And I can imagine why, because you were in the group chat as a director of national intelligence. Guy, come on, bro. You got Hexeth who out here like, nah, we ain't say none of that. And then Goldberg's like, actually, here's all the texts where they said exactly all of this. Tulsi's like, well, it's still in there. Bro, you just, yes. Hey, look, man, it could, we're going to find out. I don't know, but we're going to find out. But the problem is you were in the group chat, so you knew. So you like, there was definitely a fear of committing perjury. That's what the problem was. Because she, like I said, Tulsi's intelligent. She's going to watch her words because she is aware, especially, you got to remember, guys, Tulsi, if I'm not mistaken, she's not been discharged. Like, she didn't leave the military still. Or yet, excuse me. I think she's still reserved. And she might be in the process of transitioning out. I don't know if you're allowed to serve actively while being the director of national. I don't know because of the requirements. So, yeah, she's technically Out of everybody there, she's actually still subject to the laws of UCMJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And the standard is higher, or rather, the bar is lower for her to be prosecuted under UCMJ than everybody else. Ironically, while being the director of national intelligence. And because of her clearance, our top secret security clearance, not only in the military, but as a congresswoman, she knows what's classified and what's not classified and how to handle that information. And she also knows how liable she could personally be if if it even got found out she was in the goddamn chat. So, and she knows what it would mean if she got caught committing perjury, potentially. But you're the DNI. Look, there's an article by CBS where now Tulsi and Ratcliffe are defending the fact that they were in a group chat. At Wednesday's hearing, Rep. Jim Himes of Connecticut, top Democrat on the committee, chastised intelligence leaders at the start of the hearing, saying they put lives of troops at risk. Everyone here knows that Russians or the Chinese could have gotten all that information and they could have passed it on to the Houthis, who easily could have repositioned weapons and altered their plans to knock down planes or sink ships. I've said that's a little bit of an extreme. That's assuming that they couldn't have done that if they wanted to before. I'm sure they don't want to just like go to straight war with the U.S. Navy, but like it's like a little bit of exaggeration. Whatever, cool. Gabbard acknowledged that the conversation was sensitive, but denied that classified information was shared in the chat. She says that there were no sources, methods, locations, or war plans that were shared. She told lawmakers. Ladies and gentlemen, based off of what I read earlier, based off of what you heard in that interview, do y'all feel like there were no methods, locations, war plans that were shared? Do y'all feel like literally naming the jets and the weapon systems? Wouldn't that be considered a method? You feel like the locations that were literally mentioned, like you feel like that might be a location, or the plans that were planned? It's like there were no war plans. Yeah, Houthis fucking group chat. We about to blow these niggas up chat. Like what the fuck? The chat was basically, hey man, these are the plans that we making to bomb the Houthis. What the fuck? You're the DNI. You're the DNI. You are the DNI, Director of National Intelligence. At a certain point, Tulsi, like, it's you just posted this, hey, I'm about to bow out. Y'all got me fucked up. I'm not about to get cut up with y'all. But then after, what's crazy is, as the Director of National Intelligence, knowing that you are going to be under fire once this shit hits the fan, and it is going to, because I mean, this is a sleaze bag, right? This is a sleaze ball. We know, you gotta know Goldberg was about to leak this shit or drop this. He's just that type of person based off of his history. Okay, you didn't think as a Director of National Intelligence it would behoove you to hold a meeting about, once again, just a game plan. Hey guys, this shit's gonna come down the pipeline. We gotta get on the same page. No, you got her saying, well, investigation. Well, there's no classified information. Nope, there were no plans. Head said saying there were no plans, and other people saying, well, things were discussed, but it was, it was sensitive, not classified. Then it's like Pentagon officials were like, nah, motherfucker, that shit was classified. Yeah, people could have died. Then Trump is in his own world. What are you talking about? Well, to me, the Atlantic magazine is going out of business. Like, what are y'all on? What is happening? And this is a fucking train wreck of an administration, and I'm tired of MAGA pretending like it's not. Shout out to the people out there. I don't want to generalize, because there are some MAGA people out there that have been pissed about how this Trump administration has gone down, and I respect y'all for calling these motherfuckers out. I really do. So I don't want y'all excluded. Cool, but the majority, these motherfucking propagandists, pretending, and it's gotten so bad on Twitter that like everybody kissing Elon Musk's ass and Trump's ass for, like, you see mostly bot accounts. You see it. It's like, bro, you a fucking little snake with the American flag photo. Like y'all a lot of motherfuckers on Twitter with your little animals in your Abby in your profile picture. Like, we know you're biased, bro. Like, y'all not even spelling right. Don't capitalize shit. Commas still, you don't put space. Like, it's just straight bias now having to defend this bullshit. But it's the propagandists, right? They're the ones who are coming out the most and still trying to pretend like this whole administration has been a fucking train wreck, because it has. It really has. Y'all did. Yeah. Okay. People were like, okay, Russia. Okay, Russia peace. Because Russia-Ukraine peace is not like a win for the administration. That would be a win for the world, really. And especially for the Ukrainians that are getting sent to the meat grinder. That would have been a great thing and could still be. And then you just fuck up literally everything else. You put in tariffs on countries in ways that don't make any sense. You try and blame them for your what's the drug that everybody keeps trying to say that it's coming from China? Fentanyl. Yeah. I can't always forget because stupid. Like, oh yeah, fentanyl is coming from Canada, it's coming from Mexico, it's coming from China. No, everybody and their mama knows, if they understand U.S. history, if there is a drug problem, if there's a drug epidemic in the United States, it's because the United States allowed it and it's facilitating. But instead, you're out here running up the goddamn prices on everything, lying as if everything is coming down when we all know that's not the truth. We all know that's not the case. But you're running up prices, putting tariffs on everybody, trying to blame everyone else for a problem we know is directly responsible. We know the United States is in some way, form, or fashion directly responsible for, because you're always responsible for it. There's not been a time in history where there's been a drug epidemic where the United States did not facilitate the problem. They were creating the problem. Then you out here trying to blame Iran for why you attacked the Houthis. Iran out here minding their own motherfucking business. And one day they get a call, hey man, we about to get attacked because, they're talking about because y'all fund us. Like, yeah, but we all been funding y'all. Why y'all getting attacked now? We don't know, but they're blaming y'all. Oh, okay. After you just gave a whole speech last week talking about how important peace is because of this, during this Russia thing and trying to attack Zelensky and attacking anyone who supports Ukraine, or from that perspective, is like for the continuance of war, Bernies of the world, right? Because Bernie looked like a fucking whole ass war hawk, and y'all are right, and people who attacked him for looking like one are right for doing so. And then you turn around and try to justify attacking the Houthis, where you end up just killing mostly civilians, by blaming Iran, which is going to piss them off. And what's even crazier is Tulsi even came out and admitted, just today or yesterday, yeah, this actually doesn't look like Iran's an immediate nuclear threat. But she hit us with the Donald Rumsfeld Boondocks quote: the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. I swear to God, yeah. Yeah, she said that because she still got to kowtow to the fucking empire, right? But so in other words, they're like, Iran is not a threat until you piss them off. They're not a threat until you make them a threat, or unless you're a terrorist, because they will find you. That is for sure. But like, what are we talking about? The ceasefire deal is going down the fucking toilet. So there's y'all ain't getting the hostages back, and the Palestinians haven't gotten the majority of their hostages back, and the fighting started again. Israel is out of control because Netanyahu, that's another thing we haven't really talked about enough. I talk about it all the time, every time I get a chance, but like, have y'all not noticed that like the more these hearings continue to unfold with Netanyahu, the more fucking crazy he gets, and everybody is kind of like, yeah, but he's Netanyahu. That's how no. People are not realizing it's directly affecting his foreign policy, because he has to stay wrapped up in war, because that's the only way he can avoid an election. And he has to distract the populace and create other narratives, like, so that people ignore the fact that all of Israel is trying to get this motherfucker out and he won't leave. And so his craziness, these hearings have made him become more and more unraveled, and therefore their foreign policy becomes crazier, and the United States either helps facilitate it or lets it happen because they're terrified, not of Netanyahu necessarily, but of Israel. Because nobody knows what he actually has, right? Epstein, them files still somewhere. You know who don't got the files? Us. Another fucking lie that was told by this administration. It is a train wreck. The JFK files were slightly revealing, but they didn't even release all of them. Just like the last time, just released a little bit. Released a little bit. Slow leak. DNI involved in a group chat of fucking sense. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not going. That shit is wild to me. That's wild. I just Tulsi, I can't believe that shit. Threatening China. You got Elon just with everybody's data, they're doing promotion for Elon. Like, y'all were literally talking about, ladies and gentlemen, y'all remember whenever these motherfuckers, fuck the fourth industrial revolution. The Great Reset, the fourth industrial, we gotta fight, do everything we can to fight against fourth industrial revolution. It went from that to, we gotta spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to support Elon Musk by buying Teslas. Let's buy Teslas to help. Y'all are like, fuck EVs, I'm not giving up my big old truck. To, we have to buy Teslas and EVs now because Elon likes them. What? Y'all look like fucking clowns. This is like basically what we saw the last 4 years of Biden. That's what y'all know that. Like, y'all look the same. I can't tell the difference. I put my glasses on. Yep, still can't tell the difference. Yeah, no, y'all look the same. This administration is, okay, y'all the Biden administration without, pushing war with Russia and Ukraine. Okay, congratulations. You got literally one thing correct and are failing in every other aspect and are screwing the public in every other aspect. You're no different than Biden. And Democrats are fucking just as bad because they're allowing this shit to happen. They're not even doing anything to substantively challenge the Trump administration, if we can be in a real. The one thing they want to come out and genuinely challenge Trump on is fucking peace. Like, that's the biggest problem. Like, when the one time he's like, yeah, like, can we try to get some peace? They're like, no, you're not doing the script right, Trump. Bro, I just like Elon being a part of his administration for whatever fucking reason. Like, I don't even know why that's a thing, because he's not qualified. I don't know how else. Like, I posted the other day on my Twitter and people genuinely didn't know. I'm like, y'all do know, like, all his money, like, he became rich because the U.S. government gave him all the fucking money. But we're gonna talk about it a little bit with this BYD situation, why they're out selling Tesla. But like, he didn't make a better product. He got a bunch of money. The U.S. put tariffs on other countries, and other cars, and helped him get patents so people could. So basically, even if you made the car, right, you had the technology. Hell, even if you made the technology, you couldn't apply it. That's what gave Tesla their head start. And he didn't start the company. It was just a hostile takeover that was also facilitated by the U.S. government. So, like, bitch, you've never invented anything. I don't understand why people think Elon Musk is smart. I don't understand it. He's not, like, you're not even a smart businessman. You just knew rich people. That is not the same thing. And you're willing to just do whatever you can to stay rich. You're willing to, like, get dragged around like a little bitch. Like, okay, I can do that. Give me billions of dollars and just let me just say whatever y'all want me to say and build whatever y'all want me to build. And, hey, man, we're going to use your name to build some Pentagon shit. Is that cool? Hell yeah, go ahead, for sure. Like, yeah, I can be rich too. That's how Jeff Bezos got rich. He turned a failing business into a $1 billion company doing the same shit. Same thing with Elon. He's not qualified to run the government, and he's thin-skinned. He's a little bro. He is so sensitive. He can't take any criticism, dog. Why are you on your own website all day looking to get your dick sucked by the people paying to be on your website? It doesn't make any sense. You're a man-child. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know, like I said, it's been a long couple weeks, bro. I don't know how you say it in English. Abofa. I've been waiting to vent. There you go. I've been waiting to vent, y'all. Y'all know, I could be y'all my therapist, right? We each other's therapists. So let's change gears real quick. To this conversation between Saager and Glenn Greenwald, which, like I said, actually was not like a crazy conversation where Glenn was attacking. It wasn't like that at all. But Saager did get educated. He got schooled. That is for damn sure. Let's check it out.
Standing by. Let's get to it. We're very excited now to be joined by friend of the show, Glenn Greenwald. He's here to yell at me, and he's here to school me. He's here to educate me on my misgivings, my wrongs that I've made here on the show. But more importantly, he is here really as somebody who I just look to and so respect so deeply on these issues, who's thought a lot about it. So Glenn, it's really great to see you.
Great to see you, Saager. I obviously have a lot of things to yell at you about, and if we did them all, it would take 3 hours.
That's right.
We're going to focus on just one or two.
That's right. We're going to focus just on one or two. Let's start with Tom Homan here, responding to criticism that these migrants from Venezuela who were declared terrorists by the Trump administration were deported to an El Salvadorian prison with no due process. The response there from Tom Homan is that many victims of illegal immigration and crime themselves were not given due process. You had a very interesting response to that. So let's play the clip and then we'll hear your take. Let's take a listen.
How do you determine, or how do your people in the field determine that somebody is a gang member?
Bro, this response from his mother is insane. It is insane.
Look, there's various methods. No, I've noticed in the media this week, a lot of them don't have criminal histories. Well, a lot of gang members don't have criminal histories. Just like a lot of terrorists in this world, they're not in any terrorist database, right? We only know the information what's in databases based on, for instance, most terrorists we arrest.
Anybody catch that? What the fuck? What is he talking about? What is he? Most gang members don't have criminal. That's not actually true. It's very. If you are a gang member, there's a high likelihood that you have criminal history, even if it's small. Like, where you get that from? And y'all motherfuckers be putting terrorists that aren't terrorists in the database. Y'all put anybody y'all think in the terror. Man, they had. Tulsi was on the no-fly list at one point. Y'all know Kim Iverson was on the domestic terrorist watch list and was on the no-fly list when she was like preteen because of an article she wrote at one point. But they put everybody on the watch list. Jesus Christ. But if y'all understood the word that he said, then you're already you're very impressive because this motherfucker's not even talking. He's mumbling.
That are identified via U.S. government are later identified through a Title III investigation or through an undercover operation. They're not in any terrorist screening screening database. We know that. A lot of gang members. I started as a cop in 1984. Many gang members don't have a criminal history. So we have a count on social media.
Yo, what? Sorry, God, you gotta hear this again.
By the U.S. government are later identified through a Title III investigation or through an undercover operation. They're not in any terrorist screening screening database. We know that. A lot of gang members. I started as a cop in 1984. Many gang members don't have a criminal history. So we have a count of social media. We have a count of surveillance techniques.
I started as a cop in 1984. We had to count on social media. That man was living in the future in 1984, apparently. So you went to social media before computers were a thing? That's crazy, dog. That is impressive. Wow. If you were a cop in 1984, I will say that, yeah, I agree. Y'all were probably arresting people for gang activity, even if they had no history when you were a cop in 1984, because y'all motherfuckers was doing that. It was a whole thing. That was, y'all were corrupt as shit. That's what I'm saying, but okay.
We had to count on sworn statements from other gang members. You got to count on, wiretaps and Title III. So everything involved with the criminal investigations come into play. So just because someone hasn't been arrested and charged with a crime yet, doesn't mean they're a member of a gang.
But
he said, Alvin, I didn't think I caught it the first time. He said because somebody hasn't been arrested and charged of a crime yet, doesn't mean they're a member of a gang. Yeah, I think that's what we're all saying.
We have a count of social media. We have a count of surveillance techniques. We had to count on sworn statements from other gang members. You got to count on, wiretaps and Title III. So everything involved with the criminal investigations come into play. So just because someone hasn't been arrested and charged with a crime yet, doesn't mean they're a member of a gang.
But how do you? I mean, what we've heard from lawyers representing some of these people is that they deny that they're members of this gang, or either Tren de Aragua or MS-13. Do they get a chance to prove that before you take them out of the country and put them in to a notorious prison in a country that they're not even from? I mean, do they have any due process at all?
Confidence. Look, due process. What was Lake and Ronnie's due process?
That's not how due process works, bro. That's not what. No, if you had a crime committed against you, you don't have due process, but you have, if you are alive and you survive the crime, you do have the ability to go through a due process. But due process specifically for people who are accused of things, because the courts get it wrong, right? That's like, what are you talking about? Where these motherfuckers just be saying, like, oh, what about the victim due process? So, like, anyone who claims to be a victim, so, like, if somebody accused him of sexual assault, for example, he looks like a guy who would commit some sexual assault, by the way. He looks like he did a lot of assaulting back in the day. You don't deserve due process, because what about the due process of the person who's claimed to be sexually assaulted? So you don't deserve your day in court to figure out if that's true or not? Oh, interesting. Or is it like because they're brown? Because I feel like it's more like because they're brown. Right? I wonder how many Ukrainians have been shipped off.
Where were all these young women that were killed and raped by members of TDA? Where was their due process?
Well, the people that did that should be prosecuted.
On the subway, where's her due process?
Well,
the bottom line is that plane was full of people designated as terrorists. Number one.
Yeah, the bottom line is people you designated as terrorists without due process. You get you designate. Yeah, they're designated. That is the bottom line. That's what we're trying to say. And not, you didn't send them back to their country. You sent them to another country, to prison, by the way, without a trial. So, like, you didn't, like, you know, I mean, we are, if the moment you step foot, in which Glenn's going to get into, when the moment you step foot in the United States, ladies and gentlemen, you're entitled to due process, because it is a mandate for how the government is supposed to behave, right? It's keep them in check. But, like, not only did we impede upon our due process, but then you, like, jumped over Venezuela's due process, and then you're like, hey, man, El Salvador, we heard y'all don't got no due process, and these people haven't even been charged shit yet. We're just deporting them, really. Here, take some prisoners and some slaves, and never give them a chance of getting out. Bro, is train wreck.
Number two, every Venezuelan migrant on that flight was a TDA member based on numerous criminal investigations, on intelligence reports, and a lot of work by ICE officers.
Glenn, what do you make of that argument?
Those ICE officers, those super trustworthy ICE officers that don't be running human trafficking rings like they haven't already gotten caught doing that. ICE.
First of all, it's kind of weird because the older you get, the more you realize that history really does just repeat itself, and not by century, but even by decade. We're back in 2002, where we're hearing all of the arguments from the Bush and Cheney administration that they have the right to do anything they want to people they and they alone have decided are terrorists. And that includes putting people into prison indefinitely with no due process, torturing them, kidnapping them, rendering them, whatever else they wanted to do. And when people objected and said, wait a minute, these people don't even have an opportunity to go into court and disprove or contest the accusations that you made against them, that they're not part of a terrorist organization, what we heard was, oh, don't worry, we vetted these people, and we can assure you that these people are not just terrorists, but they're the worst of the worst.
So I want people, if you are a MAGA person, you're listening right now, I want you to think about it like this. What was one of the main complaints that we heard about the arrest from January 6th? People were being held without what? Without arraignment. They were being held without being charged. They were being held without being given their due process. And a lot of them were being called domestic terrorists and being tried as such. Or they were being called that and being held and not being tried, really. They never even had an opportunity to get out. You give an arraignment is when you find out the date that you're going to hear all your charges and all that, or you hear your charges, you find out the date you're going to go to court, you figure out what the potential punishment is. Like, they weren't even getting an arraignment because they just got called domestic terrorists, and that was it. And y'all seem to understand how problematic that was, right? This is a situation where people are being, they're not, the standard for deportation is not that high, but the standard for arresting somebody and deporting them under while calling them a terrorist is actually extremely high. I don't know where people get this idea that that immigrants are not entitled to due process, especially when you're complaining, when you're claiming refugee status. So I don't know where people got that idea from, but it's not true. But yeah, it's the same thing. Like, you see how much of a slippery slope that is. And I said that whenever the protests were happening under the Trump administration, and Trump was calling all the BLM activists or the people on the ground were protesting domestic terrorists, I'm like, y'all dumb as shit. If y'all Trump people, y'all MAGA people are out here just touting his rhetoric because he chose to designate protesters, activists, as domestic terrorists, and then people started implementing curfews. Y'all remember that shit? You see how slippery that slope got? And then he gets out, and guess what happens? Biden was like, not, motherfucker. Guess who the domestic terrorists are now? That quick. And that's why due process is not supposed to be applied selectively. It's just due process, period, point blank.
As it turns out, many, according to Colin Powell's chief of staff, Larry Wilkinson, most ended up not being part of any terrorist organization. They were picked up randomly. The intelligence was wrong. Sometimes vindictively, people reported them to the U.S. military. All kinds of reasons the government makes mistakes. And that's the whole point of due process, is we don't trust just one branch of government to do something as cataclysmic as throw people into a dungeon for life without even bothering to have to present evidence that they're guilty, and giving the people who are so accused the opportunity to contest it. And the other point that he made that makes absolutely no sense, and a police officer should know this better than anyone, is due process is most necessary for people who are accused of horrific crimes. Laken Riley.
I mean, a police officer should know that, but do we expect them to live by that? We know that they don't believe. Come on. I know he's being generous, but no way he actually believes that.
These killers didn't just get thrown in a dungeon because the government decided that they were guilty. They were given lawyers, formal charges, went through all of our judicial procedures, were found guilty in a court of law, and sentenced to life in prison without parole. So the idea that, of course, no murderers, no kidnappers, no rapists give their victims due process, but we still give due process to the people who are accused of criminality before we can punish them, because the founders knew, first and foremost, that humans are not infallible. And they're going to make mistakes, and we've made mistakes all the time, even with due process. We've convicted people wrongly and unjustly. Imagine how many mistakes get made when you just hand over the power to government officials in the executive branch.
Everything he says is 100% true. And Janice, thank you very much for the super chat. What they did is human trafficking. They were sold into slavery, essentially. Absolutely right. On point. That is the best way to describe it. You can't even, because like Glenn says, like they keep calling it deportation. This is even outside of the scope of a normal mass deportation. It's not even that, because you're flying these people to a country they don't belong to, not the country of origin. So you're not deporting them. You could say you're expelling them from your country, but you're not deporting them. You are sending them to a jail in a country the majority of people never been to. That's not deportation. That's human trafficking. Because we know how that, y'all know how that El Salvador prison is, right? That shit is that's like one of the most corrupt prisons on the planet, bro. And these people hadn't gone through any due process. So you can't even really make you can't even make the argument like, oh, these are terrorists that are being carried. Huh? Okay. So maybe if you really genuinely suspected them of terrorism after a long investigation, you could have justification potentially for deporting them if they are undocumented. Okay. What about the putting them in jail part in another country that's not even yours or theirs? So you're telling me putting somebody in jail doesn't even require due process? And why, if they belong in jail, ladies and gentlemen, why didn't you want to put them in jail here and then send them back home? Had them serve their time to make sure it gets served. If it was about like the criminality or the danger to society, right?
And just declare who is not guilty, with no opportunity for the person who's accused to disprove the charges. And that is exactly what's happening.
Glenn, I think what's made this so difficult for me is it feels dispositionally as if the law is something that is being almost used in a process way, not just due process, but it's one where it feels as if the Constitution and the law seems to apply only for deportation, but it didn't necessarily apply, let's say, when people were being allowed into the country and then were victimizing people who were here. It does feel, at least to me, as if this argumentation and this love of due process, etc., only comes into play whenever it's the, supposedly sympathetic group here, let's say, of migrants, when we don't necessarily hear the same for, let's say, people who are coming here illegally, committing crimes. Then,
see, and once again, I'm gonna try not to be too hard, because I know he once we get to the end of the conversation, he expresses like he genuinely feels this way, and he wants Glenn to help him understand. So I'm trying not to be too hard, but Jesus H fucking Christ, due process. He's like, oh, we're not concerned about due process. No, due process is about somebody who's being accused. 1, 2. Once again, like it's already always been discussed, already been proven. The crime rate amongst undocumented immigrants and immigrants in general is ridiculously lower than people who have residency or citizenship. It's ridiculous. And there's always this argument about taxes. Undocumented citizens are actually more likely to pay taxes, and it's probably has something to do with the fact that they have a higher burden when it comes to getting approved for literally anything, house, car, credit card. They have a higher burden, so tax forms help alleviate that burden. So they pay their taxes, and also you don't want the IRS on your ass. You want to make everything look like it's normal until it's not normal. You feel me? So I don't know where. Like, oh man, where nobody cares about due process when what are you talking about? Actually, we do. What we would like is for y'all to like stop bombing the shit and destroying other people's countries. Like stop bombing the shit other people's countries. Stop destroying other people's countries. Stop destroying their economies. Actually, like we are concerned about the fact that y'all not y'all. I'm saying like imperialists that are running the country, that are entitled to due process. Why isn't that due process being applied to y'all? And why are y'all not being prosecuted so that these people don't feel the need to run from whatever country they're running from to come bring their ass to the United States? We are actually concerned about due process. We are always talking about the fact that due process is not being applied. Yeah, it is due. You are mandated to have that process, but where the process at? When y'all are carrying out these illegal acts internationally. And then when the people who cheer on some of these illegal acts or turn a blind eye to some of these unlawful international crimes, right? Siege warfare, economic sanctions, et cetera, blowing up countries, blowing up literal civilians. Like y'all turn a blind eye or even cheer it on. And then whenever we get consequences, whatever those consequences might be, you are like, what? I can't believe they want to come here. Wow, this is the only place we ain't blowing up. I can't even, but the US, it's when you're away for long enough, you kind of realize how fucking insane it is. Cause like, I never have to worry about my kid going to school and somebody deciding to shoot it up. My kid could be going to school in a fucking favela, y'all. He doesn't, but if he could, I have zero fear that my child will show up at school and one day one of his angry classmates will come up and kill 21 kids. I have no fear that one day someone will go in a movie theater and kill 50 people. So I can't even say like the safest place in the world to go is the US, but at least, maybe you're not going to get bombed, probably. You might be a victim of another type of terrorist attack, but, is what it is. But like, yeah, the only way to guarantee that you avoid being sanctioned into oblivion is to be in the US. Especially if you're from one of those, if you're from one of those countries. So, and to be honest, I'm gonna go to the country that just fuck my whole life up too. Like, nah, y'all gotta give me that. Y'all owe me something. That's why I'm coming here. I'm at your crib because you came to my crib, ate up all my food, didn't put nothing in the refrigerator, didn't send me no cash app, nothing. No food stand, you do the EBT cash switch, nothing. You just ate my food up, drank up all my water, drank my Coke up, ate my baby's food, my baby snacks for school, and just dipped out. So now I'm at your crib. Let's get it popping. Let's continue.
It's like, oh, well, of course, this is something that is naturally to happen. They have a lower, let's say, crime rate than the natural born population, the implication that you shouldn't even worry about. So for people like me who have really complicated feelings about this stuff, how should we feel watching this and trying to balance those two issues of wanting, let's say, mass deportation, the selective application, let's say, of concern? What would you say to those critics?
Well, the whole reason Trump has made this a signature issue of mass deportation, and he won twice, and polls clearly show, in addition to that, that people support mass deportation, was because the idea was that people entering our country illegally have done something wrong, have done something criminal. So the idea is, because they didn't give us due process, or they didn't get due process, we should now relinquish due process, is essentially to say, let's copy and replicate and adopt the worst abuses of the policies that Donald Trump for a decade has been most harshly criticizing. I think the bigger point, though, is that when Donald Trump has stood up for a decade now and argued for mass deportation, typically mass deportation, not just typically, but almost in every case, means that you take somebody who is in your country illegally and you send them back to their country of origin. You send them back to where they're a citizen or where they came from. That is always how deportation works. The reason this has become so controversial is because the Trump administration is not picking up Venezuelans or others and sending them back to their country of origin. They're sending them on purpose to a third country that these people have nothing to do with. They're not citizens of El Salvador. Most of them, if not all of them, have never been to El Salvador. And the reason we're sending them to El Salvador is because we know they have a repressive prison system, probably the worst in the world, where they're not only going to be humiliated and tortured and stripped of all human rights, but it's extremely unlikely that they're ever going to leave. So this is
and it's a high probability, especially if a lot of them aren't gang members, like if they're not really part of a gang and they're from Venezuela, you're going to click up in the prison. Y'all know how this shit works, right? Like, y'all not with us. The El Salvadorians are going to do they're going to be with theirs. And then the Venezuelans, especially the more and more that arrive there, there's going to have to be a pecking order because that's how prison works. So now you're going to end up putting people in these violent situations, these combative and adversarial situations, just because they're Venezuelans who never asked to be put there. And a lot of them are not even guilty of anything. They're like, oh, I don't know how this gang shit works, bro. I just was playing fucking soccer down the street and I got picked up because Karen from fucking across the way said I was too dark. And said I was there illegally. Said my dog took a shit in her yard. Now I gotta go. Come on.
Radical departure from what we think of and call deportation. This is consigning somebody not just to life in prison, but to one of the worst prisons, life in one of the worst prisons that people very rarely leave. And if you don't believe that the government, the US government under the Constitution, owes people the right of due process, of a hearing, of an opportunity to disprove the accusations, not before we deport them back to their country of origin, but before we send them on purpose to a hellhole of a prison that they're likely never going to leave, prison for life, without even an inkling of a process, a requirement the government show the evidence and the opportunity of the person so accused to contest it, then you don't believe in due process at all. Then you simply believe in an authoritarian government that can just accuse people in secret of being guilty, and that's the end of the story. And that has never been the founding value of the United States. You mentioned the Benjamin Franklin quote that I had cited, where he said, it is more just to allow 100 guilty people to go free than to punish wrongfully a single innocent person. That comes from Blackstone, which is the foundation of American and British law. Thomas Jefferson is attributed to say something very similar, but certainly all of his writings and all of the founders' writings. That was the idea. Let me just give you a quick example. We impose limits on police officers.
So once again, I gotta give Saager credit, because in a normal situation with a lot of these people, you would see them just like trying to shout Glenn down. Like if Destiny was debating him, for example, he would try to shout Glenn down. I'm sure that like Cop would have done the same. But Saager is entering with an open mind, and I can appreciate that, because even though it's hard for, like, I'm not an immigrant, but like, I guess I technically am, but it's U.S. I'm a U.S. immigrant, so it's a little bit different. But I've never lived as an immigrant in the U.S. But it's hard for me to not like to it's hard for me to understand not understanding due process, like the point of it. And maybe because I was like born and raised in the US, like I will say like my school was pretty big on that part of history and politics, like was super important. I don't know why, but I remember like it was just like a big ass deal. Oh no, because it was, so for us, it was in the I had a black, that's why. So in my junior senior year, one of my AP history classes was a black female teacher, and she talked about how often due process was not applied to black people and all the various excuses throughout history that had been used to justify not giving due process to black people. That's why that's such a big deal. I'm like, I don't know why, because it's a big deal. One of the reasons I wanted to be a lawyer at the time was because of that. Like, due process has always been selectively applied for black people. And she would often give examples where you're like, what the fuck? How did they get this wrong? And you're like, well, no, this is the norm. The problem is that some people, they let their feelings decide how facts should flow. And that's not how it's supposed to work. Why the fuck we got laws? Right? Even if something is a law, does not make it lawful or ethical. Like something legal does not make it. So there's actually the way it's like something legal is not necessarily lawful. Like that, the courts determine that something is lawful. But even if something is at one point determined to be lawful, does not make it ethical or moral at all. I mean, slavery was fucking legal at one point before it was made illegal and unlawful. But now it's kind of legal again. It's just like you got to do it lawfully. Like, yeah, I know it's a bunch of wordplay, but that's how fucking law works, unfortunately. But I can't really, like, I don't get why it's so difficult to understand the concept of due process. Like, oh, but I don't like the way they did this. Well, duh, you don't like it? Okay, that's your stance on that's your political opinion about how they conducted themselves. That is not a political opinion on how the government is mandated to conduct itself. That has zero bearing on that. Your political opinion about that individual has zero bearing on the requirements the government has placed upon itself. Like, and I don't understand. I have trouble processing that people have trouble processing that very issue. Like, just saying.
Make it more difficult for them to catch violent criminals. They're not, for example, allowed to just burst into houses where they suspect that somebody guilty might be there. They first have to go to a court, get a warrant, and we require that even knowing that sometimes it's going to mean that violent criminals get away because we're putting barriers in front of the police. But we're a country of liberty. We've decided we would rather have those liberties even if there's a cost to it. And due process is exactly that. And it's something foundational to the United States, and it can't be waived simply because people are frustrated with illegal immigration, especially when it's not sending them back to their home country, but putting them into a horrific prison in a dictatorial country in El Salvador, where you've seen all the video of things that they do to these people that would never be permitted in the United States.
And there's also that famous quote, people
can't say that it wouldn't be permitted in the United States. Can't say that. I get his point, though. I understand the point he's trying to make, but we know how our prison system is.
Who trade liberty for security will get neither. And just to sketch in how that unfolded in this moment, we can just very quickly run through a couple of the examples, because we're talking about the question on principle, but also in practice, we see exactly what unfolded. Roll A2 really quickly. This is just this gay barber who is like, we're asking people to just use their common sense. Does this dude look like a thug from the Tren de Aragua gang? It's like, no.
He looks like James Charles, like one of those gay, like, beauty influencers.
I think he is a makeup artist.
Tren de Aragua is like welcoming with open arms openly gay, flamboyantly gay hairdressers who fled Venezuela claiming persecution on LGBT grounds. You think that's a likely member of a Tren de Aragua gang?
And then,
or shouldn't there at least be a hearing about that first to determine if he's guilty?
Let's hear the charges. So then A3, this is one we wrote about over at DropSite. Reyes Barrios, he's a professional goalkeeper who protested the Maduro regime's kicking off his opposition from the presidential ballot. He had a hearing scheduled for April 17th to make his case for political asylum. He was actually removed from maximum security prison after his family was able to get an affidavit from the tattoo artist that was like, no, this crown is related to Real Madrid, his favorite soccer team. And so that ICE is finally like, okay, we'll let him out of maximum security prison. Very quickly, they just end up deporting him and taking him out. DHS stood behind that one in a comment to us saying, we feel like the tattoo was gang related.
Like, you see what I was saying? We designate. Oh, okay. So like, based on what? I don't know. We just feel like it was. What do you mean you fucking feel like it was? No, I need some other than, because I mean, the dude was a professional goalkeeper in this particular case, and he's like, yeah, it's a tattoo about Real Madrid. I feel like that tracks. Okay, so what's because that logic and those facts track. What is your logic, and what facts is that logic based on? Nah, we just kind of feel like he's a terrorist. We feel like he belongs in a prison in El Salvador. We feel like he's in a gang. It has nothing to do with soccer. Okay, based off of what? He's Venezuelan and we don't want him here. Bro. That's insane. That's insane. And look, I want to show you the CNN article real quick. Because he already basically made his point. Glenn made the majority of his point. I want to show you the CNN article. Lawyers ask El Salvador Supreme Court to evaluate legality of detention of Venezuelans deported by the United States. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. Okay. A team of lawyers representing the families of 30 Venezuelans sent by the United States to a mega prison in El Salvador asked the Salvadoran Supreme Court of Justice on Monday to evaluate the legality of their detention. One of the attorneys, Jaime Ortega, said they were hired by the government of Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro to file an appeal before the Constitutional Chamber of the Salvadorian Supreme Court, which would also apply to the rest of the 238 deported, once again, human traffic, Venezuelans under the orders of Donald Trump. We are asking the court to review the legal status and issue a ruling. If their detention is illegal, it should immediately order their release, Ortega told reporters. So let me just say, first of all, a lot of these Venezuelans are anti-Maduro. I want y'all to think about this. These are people who, like Ryan just talked about the article that he wrote about somebody who literally was protesting Maduro. These are anti-Maduro Venezuelans, guys. If anything, El Salvador is actually taking a lot of these Venezuelans off Maduro's hands. If you're applying for refugee status from Venezuela in the United States, 9 times out of 10, you're an anti-Maduro, anti-socialist. Like, you came from a rich family and you're normally white, to be quite frank. Like that's a side of the fence you fall on politically. I'm not really going to discuss whether that's right or wrong right now, but I'm just saying, like, Maduro would probably be incentivized to just leave this shit, to leave them in El Salvador. It's their problem now. And instead, he actually hired a team of lawyers to get his people back. Man, that's a crazy dictator right there, guys. That is a crazy, psychopathic dictator right there. What? CNN has requested more information from the Venezuelan government. Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele said last week that the U.S. sent 238 alleged members of the Tren Giaragua criminal organization, though he didn't identify them or provide evidence of that claim. And yet you took them anyway. You are an what do they call it? An accomplice. You're an accomplice in human trafficking, my guy. That's what that's the only way I can use. Like, you're an accomplice in human trafficking. You don't have proof. They don't have proof, and you're like, yep, send them our way. We'll take them and put them in fucking prison. You're an accessory to human trafficking. El Salvador agreed to take them and lock them up at its terrorism confinement center. considered to be the largest prison in Latin America. U.S. authorities have acknowledged that not all the deportees had criminal records. So they acknowledge that they weren't criminals and they still put them in jail. They sent them away and put them in jail. The Trump administration said that 137 of those immigrants were deported under the Alien Enemies Act, the use of the act previously used only in wartime. Under these circumstances, it's currently under judicial scrutiny in the United States. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this motherfucking administration is a goddamn train wreck. During that back and forth with Saager and Glenn says that Trump is basically trying to use this as a deterrent and that he's trying to placate and satisfy his base to make it look like he's being hard on immigration. But, like, this is insane because you're not deported. Once again, this is something else entirely. I don't even know. This is actually worse than Biden. Biden, like, you know, Obama was the reporter in chief. Biden might have, you know, there says people that there are people who say that he was letting people get bussed in. And I cannot confirm nor deny that. I've seen confirmation of some people saying it, and I've seen people deny it. But even if that's true, he deported a shitload of them, and then he put a lot more of them in detention centers. So, like, you know, whatever. But Obama was like the deporter in chief. But at least he was deporting people back to his own country, or their own countries, excuse me. They were deporting people back to their own countries. This is human trafficking. There's no other way to describe this. This isn't deportation. This is human trafficking. You took people out of a country without due process. Some of them, I don't even know why you started investigating them, right? So there's that. If they held them in a detention center, an immigration detention center, while they were determining the legality of their entrance into the United States, and then send them back to their own country or chose to let them stay or gave them refugees, that's an entirely different story. That's what you ran on. Mass deportation, or at least facilitating a process to determine whether or not somebody is in the country legally or illegally and dealing with it. That's what you ran on. You didn't run on human trafficking. You sold Venezuelans into slavery in El Salvador. After admitting, so the people that are going to jail, you know that they're going to jail. You know they're going to prison. And you're like, yeah, they even admitted at least 100 and something, 137 of them. At least 100 of them did not have criminal records. That's crazy. Are you kidding me? The lawyers in El Salvador said that if this is an immigration matter, they hope the Salvadoran Supreme Court will order the Venezuelans to be sent back to their countries. Really? Like, okay, so the lawyers even know? The lawyers for the country of El Salvador, even they know? So basically, somebody, the president, or whatever you want to call him, it seems like somebody was ordered to take the humans that are being trafficked. And the lawyers probably are aware, like, yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. We probably not even gonna fight y'all because this shit is a firestorm that we didn't want. But what are we gonna do? I don't know what Trump got on or what the United States got on El Salvador. I don't know. I'm not apt enough in that particular topic to know. He got something on him. I don't know what it is. But even these lawyers are like, yeah, man, we hope they get sent back. Like, okay, so what are y'all waiting on there? Juan Papier, he said America's deputy director of Human Rights Watch cautioned that this was unrealistic to expect the court to go against the Bukele administration. I understand the family's desperation, and I think they should use whatever avenue they can find available, Papier said. Sadly, the Supreme Court in El Salvador doesn't have any independence. It was completely co-opted by the Bukele administration. So I think it's sadly unrealistic to believe that they will do anything that the Bukele administration wouldn't agree with, he told CNN. Bapierre argued that these type of deportations violate UN principles that forbid countries from transferring individuals to a place where they can risk facing torture or other grave human rights violations. That was a very convoluted way to say this is human trafficking and it's illegal. Once again, this is a shitstorm. But by the end of that conversation, just to let everybody know, Saager said that he actually was coming around to Glenn's point of view. So this is why it's important to have conversations. This is why it's important to converse with people that you don't necessarily think would agree with you. And once again, I have to give even more credit to Saager in this particular case, even though, there's been a lot of shit that I've disagreed with him about lately, but I will give credit to him for literally admitting that it is going to, he said it's going to require a complete and total emotional readjustment, acknowledging that his opinion on that issue was not necessarily based in fact. It was actually more based in emotion, in a visceral reaction that he don't know where it came from, but that's how he feels about it. He said he got complicated feelings on it, but it's visceral. So that is the type of, when you are, if I was to debate somebody and I genuinely, like, I'm friends with them and I want to change their mind, like, that's what I want to hear. Like, because you understand where that came from. And now you're going to consider that when it comes to other issues that might trigger a visceral emotional reaction that will cause you to be on the wrong side of an issue without actually observing the facts as they are objectively and then formulating an opinion based off of those facts. Because, like, I'm not saying that having feelings about an opinion or an issue or whatever, problem in the world is a bad thing, right? Like, if you have empathy, oftentimes that can lead you to the right answer. Most of the time. Empathy, for me, oftentimes empathy leads to facts. I'm just saying, like, too many facts sometimes. Sometimes I don't want to, like, just leave that shit there. Like, I don't want, but for real, if when like one of the things, like, from a personal perspective, right? My mom and my dad separated when I was very young, right? I had all this animus for my dad. Not animus, but like, I was pissed about how things went down. I was pissed at my mom to some degree too for everything. And we all had our own issues. But then as I got older, I became a father. I had my own relationships. I've had my own separate, like, I'm like, damn, hold up. My mom had me when she got pregnant when I was 18. She had me at 19 years old. How the fuck did they do that? There was no way that was going to work out. Because I learned everything about my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, their lives, how he was raised, my mom, her life, her situation. And as I became more consciously empathetic and sympathetic to other people's, like, to their situations, I'm like, well, there was only one outcome that could be, and it was this, until they figured out exactly what was causing the problems in their lives. Like, how the hell they were not equipped at 18, 19 years old to raise two kids. They just weren't, as a couple anyway. There was no way in hell. They weren't equipped to be married. Not saying they didn't love each other, but because I know what it takes to be married. And I didn't have it at 19 years old, nor 18 years old. I know what it takes to run a family. I know the stresses that could cause an end to a relationship. And I also know if you are traumatized and you don't want to deal with certain things as a young man or a young woman, and if you're used to it, like, you just run away. People who self-sabotage or run away from situations because they're just, I don't want to deal with it. Because I also know everybody thinks they're the victim in every story, right? But you're always the back. You are the villain in somebody's story. Both things can be true. And once you start analyzing from an empathetic perspective, you start to actually see facts for as they are and analyze the situation as it is rather than what you think it is or feel it to be. You get what I'm saying? And so for Saager to admit that it was his feelings, the complicated feelings he had, and that it would require an adjustment of his emotions to accept Glenn's argument and that he is moving on that, is actually something to be celebrated, because effectively, to bring people on the right side of history, to get people to have the right opinions about the most important issues of the world, that is what it's going to take, an emotional readjustment. Because people are fucking kids. emotionally. They don't want to admit that. They're immature as shit. The majority of adults I know are more immature and emotionally immature than kids are. That, I mean, I can't, that's a whole different conversation, but like, there's stuff that like, I don't have to tell my 6-year-old to do or my 7-year-old to do. He's about to be 7. But like, I got to tell an adult to be considerate, but my 7-year-old understands this concept. My like, you get what I'm saying? Like, y'all, everybody has kids like where your kids know shit and you like, why does this adult not understand this concept, but my kid knows it? Because your kids, there is an inherent, if they didn't have it conditioned out of them through, behavior that was taught to them, there are a lot of inherent human responses that kids just have. If you have kids, you know that. Like, they just know, like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, these kids, this little boy who comes to visits on the weekends, he visits his father. His dad bought him a bike, and it took him a while to learn how to ride a bike because he only had the bike at his dad's house, and he didn't come every weekend. And he's a little bit older. He's like 10 or 11. The other kids were making fun of him for not knowing how to ride a bike, and my son was like, "No, stop making fun of him." Because my son learned how to ride young, but he's also super like talented and smart, and he had someone to help him learn how to ride a bike. And he remembered that. And so instead of making fun of the kid, he told everybody else, stop making fun of him. And he helped the kid ride the bike, despite the fact that my son is like 4 years younger than this kid. And now the kid learned how to ride a bike. And it's all copacetic. And nobody made fun of him again. Like, I was just outside observing this. I didn't tell him to go do that. He just did it. Because he was like, this is stupid. Why the hell y'all making fun of him? But what was crazy was there were other adults outside that were like in front, right? Just watching everything go down. And no one said anything. One of the reasons I came out is because I just heard a bunch of kids and I heard my son like yelling because he's loud. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? And then I realized what he was doing. So I'm like, I'm gonna let him cook. I'm gonna let him cook. I'm gonna see how this turns out. And I'm like, yeah, that's my guy. But I didn't even have to tell him because kids get it. But the adults out there were like watching the drama unfold instead of being fucking adults and thinking about how they would feel in that situation. Because as an adult, 100% you've been in a situation like that as an adult, let alone as a kid. So to move people on the most important issues of the world, there is going to require an emotional adjustment. And that's why I respect Saager for having that conversation and being willing to say that specifically. Because for a lot of conservatives, admitting that their position is coming from an emotional space is very difficult for them. And is what it is. Really quick, y'all. We got to talk about this this breaking news potentially. I mean, if it turns out to be true, it is probably one of the biggest stories of the Trump administration that hasn't broke yet, because I think only a couple of us got the information. This is an executive order. This is an executive order that was sent to me by veterans. This is an executive order. Now, it's not on the website. However, it does have the it has the label. This is authenticated U.S. government information. If you go to click on executive orders and actually click on the PDFs, same shit. And I couldn't believe what I was reading, bro. It's the person who handed it to me. I'm not going to say the name, but basically because of the sensitivity potentially of the person who passed it to them. But a person who works in the court system got this because it is currently being challenged in the court system. It was challenged immediately. As you can see, this was March 21st, 2025. So it was challenged immediately. It came across the clerk's desk and they passed it to the friend because the friend is also a veteran with benefits. So look at this shit. Ending Executive Order 14239-2. If you try to look up 14329, although from that day, all of them come up. But if you put in the -2, this doesn't come up on the website. So I'm assuming because it's an active dispute. But it's ending fraud and abuse in military disability benefits. By the authority vested in me as president, by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1 purpose. It is a policy of the administration to honor and sacrifice those who commit a full career to military service. Veterans who serve their entire careers and retire honorably deserve to be taken care of and fully supported throughout their lives. However, over the past years, the system has shown vulnerabilities that have led to an excessive and at times unwarranted outlays. In 2023, the American taxpayer funded approximately $148 billion in military disability benefits. When you have been waging multiple wars on multiple fronts for 2 decades, I don't know what you expected to fucking happen, but whatever. Too many individuals join the military, serve for 4 or 8 years, and then receive a discharge with a disability rating that secures them a lifelong monthly benefit. Yeah, because they get injured or that PTSD, like they do know. Just to let y'all know, as a vet, that there's a process, and it's a bitch and a half, to be completely honest with you. It ain't like it's an easy process to go through, but yeah, it ain't like you can't. There's a lot of people who get out with zero benefits. I would say the majority get out with zero benefits, actually, and to get any benefit is difficult. But to pretend like there are people who are overall, there's not this big scam being ran by the majority of vets. I promise you that. If anything, vets are actually getting fucking screwed. That's what's actually happening. But let's read the rest of this. Often exceeding what any person receiving Social Security benefits obtain. This was what was strange. Yeah, that's actually true. But that's because Social Security disability benefits are so fucking minuscule that it doesn't make sense. Like, that is a failure of the system. And also the reason you're also compensating the service veteran for because you pay into your own benefits, obviously, but you're taking care of somebody who you say served the country and they chose to sacrifice, body, limb, and mind for the country. So it's kind of different. But either way, Social Security benefits needs to be raised. So the answer isn't to lower veteran benefits. If anything, it's to raise Social Security benefits and also lower the fucking threshold. That's a whole different conversation. This order mandates a rigorous review of such cases through unannounced visits, surveillance, and other investigative measures to determine the true extent of an individual's disability and work capability. If a recipient is found to be capable of work, it follows that they should not continue to receive military disability payments or incur costly VA healthcare expenses associated with such benefits. This action is necessary to eliminate wasteful spending and restore fiscal responsibility. Yes, he just said that disabled veterans should basically have to cede their First Amendment right, their Fourth Amendment right, Eighth Amendment, Ninth Amendment. Basically, you need to cede all your rights as an individual. I need you to understand something. So you can receive 100% disability as a veteran, especially if you have PTSD, CTE, knees and shit will get you up there too. But like PTSD, because of that's PTSD can leave you with the inability to work. People, it can, at least consistently, and it can leave you, and it limits your ability to work around certain people. However, what ends up happening is Social Security has a different metric for whether or not you can work. So there are people who qualify for 100% disability. My brother's a career counselor, by the way, in the Navy. So I'm a vet. My brother's a career counselor. Like, this is what he does. So anyway, you can get 100% disability, but Social Security, their Social Security disability, they have a different metric. And if they decide you can work, you cannot qualify for Social Security disability. And they'll tell you that, even though the military is aware of like what your limitations are And because you go through a process, bro, you go through multiple doctors. You've been building up a case for yourself over the course of years, usually, before you can even get to the 30% threshold to qualify for monthly benefits. It's a process, guys. Okay? So they can go to your house and be like, oh, well, you can work. Like, for example, so when I get disability because they fucked my feet up and they gave me asthma. And I got PTSD because, unfortunately, I watched my friend basically not basically die. He died, but he died because the drill sergeant was telling him to keep exercising and screaming at him and yelling at him in his face while he was screaming, "My heart is hurting," and then his heart burst in his chest. So like that was the whole thing. So my feet, for example, I can walk, yeah, but then like 45 minutes later, bro, my feet, I can barely stand. So like it looks like I can work until I can't. Like after I get done working out, it's a bitch and a fucking half. I can run for long distances maybe one day, but the other days I can barely walk down the stairs. My knees and my neck. My neck's fucked up too. But that's from ruck marching. So also they fucked up a surgery. So there's that, but different conversation. So like I actually can't sit down for too long. It hurts to sit down for too long. I can't, but the flip side is I can't stand up for too long. Yeah, I know, it blows. So, but if you just walked up in my house one day, you were like, oh man, look at him walking around. I walk around because standing in one place for too long actually hurts. I pace. My wife gets mad at me all the time. I pace her. But it's because if I stand in one place, my feet swell up. And my ankles will swell. It hurts like a bitch. But if you just see me one day walking around, what are you gonna think after you come in and surveil me that I can work? Or because I go to a Social Security specific doctor that day, and they're like, "Well, your feet aren't swollen today." Well, yeah, well, that's a day. Boy, you can work. So that means I should lose all my benefits because what? So, Mr. Support the Troops, Republican Party, I can't, like, it's bad enough that Trump is doing this, but his party is letting him do it. JD Vance, a vet, Tulsi Gabbard, a vet, Pete Hegseth, a vet. Y'all telling me y'all about to let him fuck over disabled veterans like this? And from Tulsi Gabbard's specific perspective, through a massive violation of civil liberty? Bruh. Look at this. Policy. It is a policy of the United States of America that veterans who have served their full military careers must be effectively taken care of. However, the intent of available benefits have always been to support those who commit to a long-term service and retirement after a full career. That is quite literally not true. Because what the fuck happens when you, like, I don't know, lose a leg, or you lose the ability to use a leg or an arm? The reason I got out of the military actually wasn't because of all the other problems. I didn't find out about the other problem until later on. I got asthma because they gave me a vaccine they shouldn't have given. I'm immune to tuberculosis and hepatitis, and they gave me, you get your 2 rounds. One they give you in basic training before they blood test you, then they give you the other one. So when I went to get my second round, they were like, yeah, you can't take this. I was like, why? Oh, because you're immune? I said, so why can't I take it? Because it could cause problems for you. But you already gave me the shit. What do you mean it could cause problems for me? Yeah, cause problems it gave me asthma. So I can't be in the field, right? I can't be put in a combat situation because what happens if I have asthma fucking attack? So that's why that was the original cause of me actually beginning to separate. And I fought it at first, but then I was like, actually, no, I'm getting the fuck out. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm glad y'all let me. Because I was going to fight it, y'all. I was going, bro, back in the day, before I actually saw what the military was, I was going to go to West Point. I was prepping for special forces. I was going to be an officer. And then I got too privy to what was going on. I was like, now, this is fucking insane. Y'all are crazy. I'm not going to get into it, but I just started peeping game. And then whenever I went to my command sergeant major at the time, I was like, yo, what is a mission exactly? What are we deploying for? And he couldn't give me an answer. And when he realized that, he was like, and I was like, yeah, I'm not deploying because that's fucking crazy. You are the guy and you don't know what the mission actually is. Like, what would it look like if we actually accomplished the mission? And if you don't know what it is, why would I go? I'm not going. I'm not going to kill brown people and be a part of a brigade that our whole job was just to gather their intelligence. And now we just attached a cavalry squadron to us for some reason. Like, and he was like, that's kind of a good point. You didn't got to go. And then he got out because he realized when he got there, he could have been a division sergeant major, but he got out because he realized, like, yo, this is fucked up. So I was going to do all that. But yeah, asthma. They gave it to me. So I was going to get kicked out, basically. Even if I didn't let them, they were fighting to kick me out because a lot of people with asthma still try to stay in because if they have families. I didn't have family or anything like that. So like I wasn't married with kids and things like that. So, but people in those type of situations try to fight to stay in a situation like that. You don't want the med board to go through. But I let it happen. So yeah, I'm out. Peace. But that happened, 3.5 years in, and they gave it to me. You get what I'm saying? Like, no, these benefits were created for people who have suffered ailments because of the military. It ain't because of your fucking the amount of years you serve. Like, if you deploy and you got a basic training and you did some shit and you deserve a medal, they ain't be like, oh, you only been in a unit for 6 months, can't get a medal. That's not how that shit works. He said, updating the policy within 90 days of the date of this order, the assistant of the president for domestic policy shall submit a detailed plan to the president to outline the process to identify and investigate cases of abuse within the current military disability benefit system, which there is almost none, and implement necessary adjustments to benefits being paid by the Department of Veterans Affairs. This plan shall include provisions for a mandatory reevaluation of all military disability recipients using unannounced visits. Yes, I'm gonna read it again. This plan includes provisions for a mandatory reevaluation of all military disability recipients using unannounced visits and covert surveillance methods or measures. All recipients shall be notified of the mandatory reevaluation and shall receive a letter that includes a consent to surveillance and unannounced searches of their person, residence, vehicle, place of business, storage unit, or any other property that may assist in determining their level of disability and work capability. Bruh. Updating federal policy. Within 180 days of the issuance of this order, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs shall conduct a complete review of all policies and procedures related to military disability benefits. The Secretary is to submit recommendations to the President, including revisions, rescissions, or replacements to current policies and procedures necessary to drastically reduce the $148 billion. Bruh, how much money do we get at Israel? How much money do we get? Don't even, boy, I can't. Y'all know we barely, for a country that loves going to war with motherfuckers, for a country that loves sending other people to war, y'all know out of that, those trillions of dollars we spent over the years, like 1% of that has actually gone to troops. Like I'm not joking, y'all. Like 1% of that has actually gone to troops, to the people that are being sent overseas. You have, this is not a joke. For my veterans in the chat, let them know. You have military people, active duty, who are on food stamps. You have active duty members of the military who have to live on food stamps because they don't get the raise that they probably should be getting every year. But then you can't get another job, right? Then your spouse is limited in what they can or can't do because you never know when you're going to move or because of the situation they're in, right? You never know. You have a food stipend, like a living stipend. Like you get clothes stipend every year. You get, your BAH, but the BAH does not go up with inflation like it's supposed to. There are active duty. The amount of homeless veterans, there are veterans who receive disability benefits, but the problem is they aren't hurt enough. And people can beat the VA. You have to live near a VA to actually use a VA. So there's that. The VA fucking process is a bitch and a half, which is why if you are disabled, you have the option to buy health insurance. And it's not even ran by the VA. The last time I checked, it was ran by, who was it ran by? Give me a second, I'll remember it. But TRICARE is privatized. I'll put it like that. You pay for it. My healthcare in the US, I pay for it. It ain't free. I pay copays. I pay for my medicine. Yeah, if you want decent healthcare, you as a vet, even as a disabled vet, you still got to pay for it. And so there are people who are below the threshold, right? Where like they own, because it's a big ass jump from like 70 to 90 and 90 to 100. But if you got like, there's a lot of people at that 30 to 40% threshold. It is not enough to live. And there are people, if they don't have family, if they don't have support system, if they got out the military and they don't know what's next, because there are a lot of people who don't, they get out the military and the circumstances they get out the military in, they just didn't get the right help on the transition out. And that happens way too often. And they end up homeless, drug abusers because of PTSD that they maybe didn't even know they had until it was too late. They never recuperate. And I mean, I know this dude who was actually receiving military benefits and didn't know. They had to back pay him, but he was owed military benefits because he actually got out. He did the process, but for whatever reason, he was not made aware that he was approved for the benefit because it took so fucking long. Because that happens. Whenever I got approved, when I finally was actually when my rating got approved, I didn't start receiving my benefits until 6 months later. Yeah, that happens. And this person, it took years. So they didn't know, and this man was fucking homeless. And then because there's like a statute of limitation, right? So like there's like a limit to how much they can back pay you. So he didn't even get all of his benefits, but he luckily he got enough to get back on his feet. But like, true story, this dude didn't even know. They didn't inform him. Like he had no access to internet. He didn't know how to get, because when you're in the military, you just access everything to your cat card. But if you didn't get a good mentor to help transition you out, you don't know how to get access to your shit again. And this man had been living homeless. Didn't even know. And it wasn't 100% disability or anything like that, but it was enough to not be homeless, at least, to maybe jumpstart a life for himself. I can't tell y'all how many emails I get, y'all, of people who, there's like emails where they tell you, all these vets don't even know about their benefits. All these vets are not even taking advantage of their benefits. Y'all got all these benefits and nobody's spending them. What the fuck? What are y'all doing? Basically, please take a class to learn how to use your benefits. We're not spending the money that's being allocated to us. Because there's a theory that the government doesn't want us to know how to use our benefits because they don't want us to have, because you can capitalize, which is supposed to be the point, right? It's supposed to be a reward for serving your country, whatever. But there are so many people who don't even know their benefits. And it's like damn near like the VA is told to not tell them. Like, yeah, send them an email, bro. Don't really educate them. Bruh. Any vet can tell you how many times you get emails like, bro, I'm like, there'd be shit that I found out from my brother. I'm like, what? Like, for example, in Florida, if you're a disabled vet, I think it's a disabled vet or 100% disabled or retired, you don't have to pay property taxes. And I didn't know. I found that out from my brother. My brother didn't even live in Florida. And I lived in Miami. Like shit like that. You don't even know. So like pretending that there are people out there that are to justify over hyper surveillance, violating people's civil liberties, to pretend like there's this massive fraud being committed by disabled vets is a fucking betrayal. It's a lie. It's bullshit. And 148 billion, that's it. That's what you're trying to fuck people's lives over 148 billion when you spend trillions on bullshit. After you basically create a goddamn poverty draft, the least you could do is take care of the poor people, which most of whom circumstances you helped create, and they're just trying to escape. Most of those people don't want to be in the military. You ain't got a fucking choice. Like, bro, there's no other choice. A lot of people felt like that. A lot of people, or they didn't know what the military was at the time because they weren't educated enough on situations happening overseas, or within their own government. Like, after experiencing the military, I'll tell you, hey, look, don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Don't do it. But that was because of my experiences, and I can say that now. But I didn't know how bad it was until I was in. And I was poor as shit. My family was poor. My mom worked 2 jobs for the majority of my life. I couldn't go to college because even with financial aid, how am I going to get back and forth home? Like, what happens when my food stipend runs out? Like, and that whole bullshit, I'm going to work my way through. That shit was way over by the time I was going to go to college. I'm going to work my way through college. Yeah. Work your way to just working because that shit don't pay for nothing. Barely enough to pay your rent and get a little bit of food. But like paying for a car, paying for gas, getting back and forth, like that requires foundation that my family did not have, even if I got a full ride. So, yeah. That's what happens. So the least you can do is like not fuck them over. Like, and stop trying to pretend like, oh, there's a grand racket of veterans abusing the system, and therefore we have to surveil them. Yo, shout out to whoever took this to court. And I hope this shit gets disbanded immediately. But if this shit hits the fan, it shouldn't only be vets that are out there. It's not just active duty military, obviously, because now because you next. It's gonna be impossible for y'all motherfuckers. Some of y'all that are going through the process right now, it's gonna be impossible for y'all to get retirement benefits. But and they're already incentivized to kick people out right before retirement. Like that's happening a lot because they don't want them to get their full benefits. They're like, yeah, we want people to serve full time, and then like anybody will tell you, especially in Air Force and the Navy, these motherfuckers. You stay in your rank too long? Not that you did anything wrong. It's just like, yo, I got the points, but they can only promote so many people, and these people were ahead of me, et cetera, et cetera. That happens all the time. And they're like, yeah, well, you're still in your fucking E5 rank for 8 years. Bye. Ciao. Like, yeah, but it would be active duty, disabled vets. And if I was on Social Security, like just Social Security disability, oh, yeah, I would be right behind you. Because if they're saying that they're basing this metric of, Social Security disability is saying that they have the ability to work, and the VA is saying otherwise, that means they're going to come after whom next? Hey, all you people receiving Social Security disability benefits, come over quick, let me talk to you. Why did I see you walking down the street the other day without a limp? Looks to me like you can work. It looked to me like that Social Security disability needs to be cut off. You're going to turn that faucet off. You're going to take your ass right to work. Sorry, sir. It won't stop. That and let's be clear, it's probably just an excuse to massively surveil everybody. I don't even really believe necessarily, perhaps, that they would be taking everybody off their benefits. I don't even necessarily believe that would actually, because that's a fucking firestorm. Republicans would not. You just can't let it happen. You can't do that. You will lose forever. Like when you screw people behind the scenes, that's different. But you can't fuck all vets over, especially when most of them are like Iraq war vets, Afghanistan war vets that are financially stable and probably could afford to be a nuisance to whoever's running for election. Hell, even run for election themselves to make sure you can't do shit like this. Like, and then the Republic, like it just, this would be a fucking firestorm. And it probably got, to be honest, the reason that it's probably not showing up on the website is because that shit, somebody saw that shit like, bro, you done lost your motherfucker. Would y'all be surprised this was it Elon? This, anybody else got that feeling that, yeah, Trump signed it and he doesn't want to throw Elon under the bus? But this sounds like some Elon shit. Because in what world do you think $148 billion is like a lot of money by military standards? You understand that? Like, that's everybody who knows, who understands the military industrial complex, how money is spent, how much money is wasted. Right? We all know $148 billion a year for veterans benefits is like nothing. That actually sounds like a bunch of vets probably aren't using their benefits enough, which is the truth. I just told y'all. But to pretend like it's a grand scam in order to surveil, that's what I'm like, no, this sounds like some Elon shit. This sounds like some Elon wanting to be in my fucking house, wanting to be in my car, like want my data type shit. Or the CIA or the intelligence community wants my data. And vets, you know, to our credit, we don't like people in our business. You know, we be out here. I don't need you in my damn business. I had to report to a sergeant every time I took a piss for years. I don't want you in my business. Well, I got out. You just don't. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't, because you know what the surveillance really is. I guess especially if you worked in, like, I was in 525 intelligence brigade. I saw, like, I'm like, these are the most incompetent motherfuckers. I can't believe these bitches are in charge of intelligence. I used to think that shit. What's that joke, y'all? Military intelligence is an oxymoron. That's an ongoing joke. These motherfuckers be the dumbest smart people you ever met in your goddamn life. You don't want those people surveilling you. There's a 99% chance that any data leak that's happened probably happened because one of these dumb motherfuckers. I don't care, because these are the people that they will get out in 3 or 4 years, right? And go to the CIA. Do 3 or 4 years, go to the FBI. Do 3 or 4 years, become an intelligence analyst. Go to the NSA. Like, yeah, those are people making decisions. I'm like, I know that person. That's a dumb motherfucker. I don't want them having my information. But no, seriously, this is dangerous, guys. This is serious. This is some serious shit. And it could, like I said, it's just the trickle down effect. Y'all, because somebody's like, oh, well, it's their fault for serving the empire. Like, all right, I'll say how I felt about that. I don't agree that people should serve the empire if they have any choice at all in the matter. But I don't walk in everybody's shoes. I can tell my opinion on it, but I don't walk in everybody's shoes. So if you know better, then do better. But yeah, that shit sounds good until it trickles down on your ass. However they treat, if they treat the members of society that they spent the last 20 years kissing at, they vets, support the troops, 10% discount, 10% discount, Vets Day. If they just throw them under the bus like that, and those are the people who got hurt doing this shit. You think that you say? Oh no. Oh no, sir. No. Y'all are really fucked. If disabled veterans aren't untouchable, oh yeah, that is a signal to the entirety of the population of the United States of America. All of y'all motherfuckers can get touched. That's what disabled, veteran, non-veteran, civilian, grandma, grandpa, everybody can get touched. I would be terrified if I was hearing this news. And as a vet, I'm scared when I hear this type of news. If I never served, because we got we got a network of people to help us out. We got a network of people to collaborate. We got people that can lobby on our behalf. We have a class, if you will. Y'all are on your own. Right? Like, you get what I'm like, there are Democrat vets, Republican vets, leftist vets, conservative vets, libertarian vets, popular, like there's a whole bunch of us from all different types of backgrounds. Everybody, and they will come together if they need to protect each other. But everybody else, if they could touch disabled veterans, ladies and gentlemen, y'all fucked. You know, like y'all, that is. We better pray that this, because it's going to be a fire if it doesn't get handled immediately and thrown out immediately. It just opens so many doors, y'all. It's a problem. It's more than a problem. It's a fucking catastrophe. Because it means nobody's benefits. We're already talking about SNAP. They're already talking about SNAP benefits and all kinds of shit. They're trying to cut, right? I don't know why the hell people like this whole debate about cutting kids' food off is crazy to me. Because like, why the fuck are we debating about that? That shouldn't be a debatable topic. The answer is make sure kids are not malnourished. That's the answer. However fucking much money you need to spend to do that shit, make it so. Because you can't fuck the economy up. You can't tell people to stop working during the pandemic. You can't deny people of their benefit of the safety net that they've been paying into for their entire careers to say, oh, well, we're worried you're going to spend it wrong, while simultaneously using their money to pay off corporations during the pandemic and boost the stock market and make sure the Congress get raises and then be like, yeah, but we got to take y'all kids' SNAP away because we heard y'all was buying soda. Motherfucker, what? If you don't give me my damn money, that's like, bro, now that is still in the works, but my point is, it's just a pattern that we're seeing now. Like no one's benefits are safe. The stuff that you've been paying into, and you don't have a say in it. You are paying. You are entitled to your opinion, ladies and gentlemen, about how you feel about benefits if you pay taxes. Because you are the one paying for it. But like what we're now seeing is that they're taking our opinion out of the matter. They don't give a shit about what your side or my side got to say now. We're going to do what we want to do. Speaking of fucking Elon Musk, real quick, let's talk about a story that just warms my heart, y'all. It warms my heart. Y'all know I hate Elon, but more than anything, but not more than anything, I despise the way that Tesla has always gotten this love for being so good. Oh, it's such an amazing car. It's so great. Nah, I've always said Tesla is overrated. That's one of the reasons I never even thought about buying one. I mean, I test drove one. I'm like, this is cool. It's how much? You done lost your motherfucking mind. Peace. I'm out. It was like, and then I did, I was in politics while Tesla was rolling out. And I just remember like, hold on. Why is it only Tesla that? Because I wanted to know why it was so expensive. So I started looking up why haven't like these other cars other car companies rather made electric cars yet? Like just do the same thing. Oh, Tesla got exclusive rights to this patent. What the fuck? Did they invent it? No. Well, they need this chip. Got exclusive rights. What? Why? No, they didn't invent that. They did it. They bought it from somebody else. They got the patent for it. Somebody else invented it. They bought the patent. Oh, their tariffs disallowed. I'm like, what? What is going on? If it's fair, it's like, they always brag about capitalism, right? So if it's about competition, why are you letting this one guy that's from South Africa, which baffled me even then, run the EV market? That's fucking insane. And he's not even making good prices. Y'all remember once upon a time, Tesla was quite literally a joke because people were like, they are never going to be able to make a working car, let alone a car that's worth $100,000. And the government just kept feeding them money until they forced them to be successful. Then they cornered the market so that no one could compete. Literally no one could compete because you couldn't make the same car. You couldn't do it. Even if you had your own version of it, if it was too close to the patent, you can't do it. They'll hit you with the tariffs. They won't let you sell it. They won't even let you manufacture it. You get what I'm saying? So like, that's how Tesla became the number one. And which we're going to talk about in a second. Everybody keeps talking about, oh, well, BYD is a Chinese, blah, 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 blah. And it's because of China. It's because of China. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's the first or the second largest Tesla factory in the world. It's in China. Elon Musk somehow, don't even get me started on that shit. Elon Musk somehow is the only non-Chinese businessman that has a multinational company in China that he's not required to have a Chinese business partner to help him manage the company in China. And I'm talking about Tesla. No one else has ever had that privilege. No other non-Chinese national has had that privilege except for Elon Musk. Y'all know that? And so with every advantage, despite having every advantage, my favorite electric vehicle finally is getting the recognition it deserves. For those of you who have been following my channel for quite some time, y'all know I have talked about this damn car BYD. This brand, it's a Chinese brand. I didn't know at the time it was Chinese, but it was one of my first times riding. They started introducing Uber Black here in Brazil. And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna order Uber Black because it's like a $2 difference. Cool. And I get in this car pulls up quiet as hell. I said, damn, what the hell? It's real quiet in here. Smells good. Then it's a big old screen. Man, it's kind of comfortable in here. What is this? He tells me what it is, BYDs, what it says in Portuguese, whatever. I said, is this electric? He's like, yeah, it's electric. I'm like, why does this kind of look like a Tesla if a Tesla wasn't shit? It looks like the non-boring version of Tesla, basically. He's like, well, it basically is, but it was made, he said it was made overseas. And they had just started selling these cars in Brazil. I'm like, well, let me just see how this shit ride then. I'm like, we cruising. I'm like, so hold up. How many miles or kilometers does it get? He explained, I think it's like 600, 700. I said, what? That's crazy. And how much is it? He told me the price. And it was his model was a $10,000 equivalent of USD, $10,000. I'm like, bitch, but this is better than, there's no way. It's just like, so the cheapest model of the Tesla, which is like $100,000, I think almost, that was what we were riding in, and it cost 10,000 USD. Bruh. I'm like, hold on. I'm thinking that because there's some stuff because of me being in Brazil all the time. I don't like their trends in the US I miss. So I'm thinking like, yo, why haven't my friends been talking about this? Why haven't I been seeing memes or whatever like about BYD or like videos about how cool this fucking car is? Because this car is amazing. Why are all my friends not buying this car? It is $10,000. Like the most expensive one, at least the one in Brazil, is $60,000. Like that's like the SUV, like the Tesla Cybertruck version of the BYD. Is 60,000. And it's like, that's like the amped up one. And it's a hybrid. So that gets like 700 or 800 electric and then like an additional 600 to 700 fucking with gas. Dog. I fell in love with this car. I decided immediately that I'm not getting the car again until I can get that car, bruh. BYD revenue passes Tesla, making it the number one in EVs worldwide. China EV behemoth BYD's 2024 revenue passed Tesla's. Tesla has been the leader in the category for years. BYD's revenue hit $107 billion for the calendar year of 2024, up 29%. Tesla's revenue was $97 billion or $97.7 billion in 2024. According to Bloomberg, BYD also sells about the same number of EVs as Tesla, 1.6 million in 2024 versus 1.79 million. But when all of its other passenger hybrid cars, that's what people forget. Tesla doesn't do hybrid. They only do electric. BYD can and does do both. Efficiently, effectively so. God knows I already wouldn't buy a Tesla, but trying to complicate and already fucking complicate, they can't even get EVs right. Imagine them trying to get an effective EV hybrid. Yeah, nah, that car's blowing up. So when you could include the hybrid car sales, pass them up. But it's even more interesting that even without the hybrids, they're neck and neck. Without the hybrids, neck and neck. Almost like people like good cars. BYD's total deliveries climbed to 4.27 million last year, almost as much as Ford, y'all. BYD sells in China. BYD revenue is almost entirely from China. While Tesla's is spread across that country. Listen, BYD's revenue is almost entirely in China. While Tesla's is spread across that country, the US, the UK, and the EU still got their asses beat. Tesla's sales have slowed recently, and unit sales in the first quarter of 2025 may be lower than the same period last year. China has several other successful EV manufacturers that are growing quickly. However, that growth is almost entirely in China. These include locals Geely, Xiaomi, and Nio. Tesla and legacy car companies like GM who have entered the EV industry are protected by tariffs in the EU and the US. In the US, those tariffs are 100%. However, BYD is making inroads in Asia, South America, and Africa. Like I said, they just started selling them in Brazil maybe a couple of years ago. Bro, everybody's trying to trade in the car to get a fucking BYD. Everybody. They're all over the world. People are like, yep, I'll just work Uber. Okay. So here, I bullshit y'all not, y'all. And this is crazy. I found this out. So a Toyota Corolla is damn near considered a luxury car here. But it's because like Brazilians pay for reliability. It's a thing. So and the parts are cheaper, easier to access, and therefore it should be more expensive. It doesn't really make sense. But bro, Toyota Corolla here was like 300,000. Hey, some crazy. I said this motherfucker. My barber told me this because he's like, oh, you gonna get like a Toyota Corolla or something nice like that? I'm like, no, what do you mean? Not that a Toyota Corolla is nice for like a family or whatever. Like it's a nice car, but like. He was talking about like, oh, like you about to buy like a Lamborghini, like a Lexus or some shit. Like that's how he was talking about the Toyota. I'm like, no, why would I do that? I'm not paying 300,000 ice for a fucking Corolla. He's like, oh man, bro, it's expensive because it's nice and it's reliable. And I'm like, I know it's reliable, like, but that's like what you would, if you can afford it, that's what you would buy like maybe your kid for their first car in the US and probably use. But like, I'm not about to buy a damn Toyota Corolla for my entire family for 300,000 ice. That's crazy. He's like, oh, I'm like, so I look up that and I look up the BYD and I'm like, hold up. This hybrid electric car is cheaper than a Toyota Corolla? Are you kidding me? So like, think about it. If they put 100% tariffs on BYD, but so $20,000 for the cheapest, you would have to put like 300 or 400% tariffs on this car to make people not buy them. And even then, it would still be worth it if you could get a hybrid that is more reliable than Tesla, that also doesn't put their workers through slavery, you know. Is that that's a whole different thing. Bruh. I've been trying to put y'all on game. Look, let's see if I can find this but y'all know that this motherfucker Elon Musk used to be so he used to try to dismiss BYD because he knew that they were coming. It was, you know, like I said, a lot of the these EVs and hybrids, they were being made, but they couldn't be sold. Or at least we didn't know about them in the US because of the tariffs and because Elon. So once again, this is just another lesson for everybody, right? When people are like, but Elon's such a genius, you couldn't do what he did. Bro, so you're telling me, really quick, I could, if I was given a bunch of money, billions of dollars by the government, and then given exclusive rights of patents, and then also had that same government put tariffs on everyone else who was trying to do what I was trying to do. You try to tell me I couldn't be successful? Bro done paid off the ref. He done paid off the owners for both fucking teams. Then the owners is paying him, and then the owners making sure they paying the refs to make sure he wins a fucking football game. You don't think I could win a Super Bowl with everybody in my pocket? Y'all really think that Elon is successful because of Elon? Because he's doing something better? Because he's stomping out the competition? No, there is no competition. And even what happens is when he finally gets competition for something, he gets exposed. Bro, there is not, I don't think that Blue Sky, I'm not sure how well Blue Sky is going to do. I'm not sure that's going to be the legitimate competition. But there will one day be, because it always comes before the government buys it out. There will one day be legitimate competition for Twitter. And when that day comes, he will lose. He will lose the competition. Why? Because Elon can't win unless the game is rigged in his fucking favor. Like, there is a long history of this. And I don't know why we pretend like that's not the case. I remember I put it out on Twitter using Grok because I like to, I love the irony of it all. I put it on Twitter like, yeah, y'all do know that this man got what 30 something billion in subsidies plus credits, like separate credits along the way, like after Tesla finally became viable and other companies had tariffs put on them, and he was getting patent exclusive rights and shit. Like, it took all of that. So you're trying to tell me with all of that, and then the government basically gave him SpaceX. That's a whole different conversation. But like, you got all of that, ladies and gentlemen. If you couldn't become the richest man in the world, he would have been a failure. That's how I see it. Like, it ain't impressive that you became successful. It would have been you would have been considered, in my opinion, an adjunct failure. Like, think about it. What happened with Jeff Bezos with Amazon? CIA through InQtel invested in Amazon, gave him $600 million at the time to buy Washington Post too. He was through one form or another, complicated to explain, but basically Google Maps. CIA through Jeff Bezos, not Google Maps, Google Earth, excuse me. They bought a company that eventually became Google Earth that is like banned in the majority of the world because it's basically a US CIA spy app. And Jeff Bezos is invested in it. And so like that, but everybody remembers back in the day, Amazon was selling 2-penny books. Amazon became the powerhouse that it became. And at one point, Jeff Bezos became the richest man in the world because the government made him the richest man in the world. Ain't because he was fucking smarter than you. And don't believe the shit. He couldn't even start his business without his parents. And he even said when he started the business, it's not, I don't even know if this shit really gonna be successful, but please give me $200,000 or whatever, $2 million. I can't remember how much it was, but it was a shitload. Bro, it was like you had the game rigged in your favor. Of course you won. How could you not win? Why do people keep pretending like Elon Musk is a fucking genius? I don't get it. Cause now it took 2 years for a company to be able to compete with you. And they said, we're going to make our cars cheaper than you and we're going to make them better than you. And we're only going to sell them in a few markets because y'all are trying to keep us frozen out. And you know what adds insult to the injury of all of this, ladies and gentlemen? It's the fact that China still lets them sell Tesla in their country. China is so unbothered. So you're telling me the communist China, because capitalism is all about competition, right? Right? Free market capitalism. Communists is so unbothered by Tesla. Like, yeah, we're going to let you do your thing, bro. But we already know once our shit starts dropping, it ain't going to matter. It's not going to matter because our shit's going to be better than yours. They knew. They let him build the biggest Tesla factory or the second biggest Tesla factory in the world in China right next to theirs. And they're like, watch what happens. You had 2 years and they already beat your ass. 2 years. And I guarantee those companies in BYD didn't have to get literally their hand held by the Chinese government in order for them to be successful. I'm sure that the Chinese government tries to make inroads diplomatically to make sure that they can actually engage in the world economy because that's smart. I mean, you have to because the U.S. is doing everything they can to put, like, why would you put 100% tariffs? If your cars are better than theirs, why would you have to put tariffs on them? You know, what happened to free market? What happened to capitalism? That free market capitalism, it don't apply anymore. Somebody was in my comments said they're trying to argue with me. I would still buy a Tesla. And you're a fucking idiot. If you can get this $10,000 BYD instead of a $100,000 Tesla, and you just want to fucking get a $100,000 Tesla to suck Elon's dick, you're an idiot. Spend your fucking money on that. You're an idiot. Why would you brag about that? Don't go to somebody's comment and brag that you'd be a dumbass in the way you spend your money. That's why you got a damn fake ass profile cartoon picture because you don't want nobody to know how dumb you are. Look at y'all. So there's this streamer, I Show Speed. I'm sure a lot of y'all are familiar with him. He's so Speed, for those of you who are curious, got famous for back in the day for screaming free Palestine to every like Israeli, anybody who was pro-Israel. This is before everything went down. This is when he was still super young. He's young anyway, but he was super young. And every time somebody would come on his screen or an Israeli come on his screen or a Zionist, he'd be like, free Palestine. That's how he got famous. And then like he blew the fuck up. And now he's like the most famous streamer in the world. Not even close. So he went to China and got to ride in BYD for the first time. And his fucking mind was blown
away by how fast it is. Let's take a listen.
Car cost.
Retail is about $70,000.
70,000?
Yeah.
And it's faster than my Lamborghini.
Unfortunately, it is.
And it's electric.
All right, so I'm gonna do a little bit of acceleration. Hold
Let me see. Oh!
So
Damn!
that's all. I
Whoa!
won't do any faster than that.
Bro, ain't no way! Yo!
Maybe a little more. Up to 70.
Bro, hold on, time out. Wait. Yo, ain't no way!
Right, ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Damn.
Yeah, so.
And it costs 70,000?
70,000. Yeah.
That's it? Chad, my Lamborghini costs $250,000.
Model S Plaid in China costs about 100, a bit more, 120.
What the hell?
Bruh. He's like, my Lamborghini costs 250,000. Yeah, bro. BYD, I'm trying to tell y'all, look. I promise you I'm not a CPU payroll. I was like him. I had the first hand experience and I wasn't even in one of the souped up ones. I was just in a normal ass Dolphin cat just driving Uber. And I'm over here like, and it was hard. This is when I first moved here. So like my Portuguese was like rough. But I'm trying to learn everything I can about this car. I'm writing it down. Like I need the website. I need this car. Bro. It just lets y'all know, like, in America, they can't succeed unless they stomp competition. And even after they stomp competition for however long they feel like they need to, right? Because now we're entering a multipolar world. You can only maintain this monopoly exclusivity for so long before people are like, look, man, we ain't about to fuck that. We ain't got time for this. Hey, come sell your shit over here. Right? You can only maintain exclusivity for so long in a multipolar world. And when people are tired of your cars blowing up and being expensive for no reason, you have to. So, like, think about it from this: could Elon Musk get away with charging $100,000 for his EV when it first came out? If someone knew that there was a $10,000 or $15,000 EV hybrid that was actually better quality and had less hiccups, parts were cheaper, and if I had to move, for example, I could bring my car anywhere without tariffs or any issues. Could he get away with that? Could he have gotten away? Could he have gotten away with that ugly ass Cybertruck? Was a Cybertruck y'all think the Cybertruck was an attempt to make up for the fact that he knew BYD was on his ass and like the nicest SUV of BYD? Bro, the nicest SUV for BYD shits on Cybertruck. The Cybertruck is fucking hideous, first of all. So let's go ahead and talk about that. I don't know what. Like, you gonna try, it's just like fake ass retro thing that he's bringing back. Like, it's unoriginal as shit. Like, yeah, I'm gonna bring back retro, like, Tron like designs and try to pretend like it's cool because I'm actually not original and I don't have any good creative ideas. We don't want old shit, bro. There is a way to bring back retro styles, but like, even with like whenever they redid the Camaros and the Challengers and stuff like that, for the American muscle cars, they brought back a retro style, but they modernized it. You just literally brought back some shit that we would see in an 80s movie and said, 250,000, come and get it. Why aren't y'all lining up to come get my car? Because it's fucking hideous. You fucking piece of shit. Sorry. But, yo, BYD, y'all. Anyway, man, so yeah, that's it. I gotta say though, really quick before we go, just another example. Trump, Elon became part. Now, BYD they were starting to catch up with him anyway, but like, you're trying to tell me that you had the president promote your shit. The president is out here promoting your shit. And you are doing worse now than ever before. And people can say, well, oh, it's because people were boycotting it. Man, if your shit was good, they hate China. So, I mean, yeah, there's still a lot of Chinese cars, but I mean, there's some of the most of the BYDs in China and Latin America. But like, you're still beating your ass. And if you have a good product, I promise you, they'll buy it. People hate China. They always buying Chinese shit though. Just saying, if you had a better product, they're gonna buy it. They wouldn't care if they hated Elon. That happens, bro. You know how people stay at the Trump hotel that don't like Trump? Trump hotels were not hurting, I promise you. All around Europe, promise you they weren't hurting. People were still buying condos in his hotel, still staying at the Trump Tower or whatever. If you got a better product, they're gonna buy it. Especially if they don't have the option, if they don't have another option. But like, you are so fucking, like, your car is bad. You get into politics and you fucking suck at the job. You're not good at what you do. You are chronically on your own app, just like patting your own back, kissing your own ass, and then threatening to sue people who criticize you. Trump out here just being, I don't know what the hell going on with him. The Signalgate, bro, y'all know what's crazy to me? Really quick before we get up out of here. I was told that DEI was a problem. Like, we got so many incompetent people because so many black people and Hispanic people and because they can't do it right and we're getting lower quality. Interesting, because I just watched a fucking shitstorm run through the U.S. this last 2 days. Like, did DEI make y'all send classified text messages through Signal and invite a journalist? Was it a black person who did that? Was there like a Indian person, a Hispanic person, the African, indigenous? No, well, bunch of white people in Tulsa. A random white guy invited another random white guy, and the other white guy fucked it up too. He didn't even report it right, to be real. Just a bunch of white incompetents. But y'all so worried that DEI is actually causing all the problems in the world. I'm not necessarily for DEI. I'm the type of person that's like, yo, it would be nice to never have needed and not need DEI because y'all motherfuckers aren't closetly racist and be talking shit about like being racist in your own homes, basing your judgment on somebody's job application off of their name and what you believe they can do. And like, bro, do y'all know Google just got sued over a race case? And it's a class action lawsuit, but they lost the lawsuit. They agreed to settle. Do you know what the caveat was to the settlement? The black people in the company could not get any money from the settlement, even though the black people in the company were most affected by the racist policies of Google. But DEI is a problem. Y'all know what's funny about DEI? I always think to myself, like, the irony of the people who claim to hate DEI, like Elon, your life, you are DEI. Like, that's how you became wealthy. Your family, half of his family literally fucking Nazis from Canada. The others moved to South Africa because they knew they were going to get special privileges. And you got the special privileges because of your race and because of where you came from. And you got to break laws that other people had to follow. And you got assistance other people would never have gotten. Then you got to you went to Canada illegally, came to the United States, overstayed your visa illegally. By Trump's standards, actually, he would have been deported. He wouldn't have never been able to get rich, allegedly, if he was black, of course. But, you know, being a white South African from apartheid and coming from money, you get a few exceptions and you get lawyers and you can bail yourself out, you know, DEI. And then you get a network that comes with that allows you to take advantage of financial situations of other people, even if you actually have nothing really to offer to benefit. But you're like, hey, man, we're friends. We're cool. We're buddies. Yeah, you get rich with me. I mean, Trump inherited millions. And his, what was his grandfather, great-grandfather, a Grand Dragon or some shit like that? I'm not saying he a Grand Dragon, but like, motherfucker, your family was. Like, yeah, you was a DEI project. You were a successful DEI project. How many? I mean, politicians that like y'all. They came from how many? The presidents, damn near all of them, except for what? Except for Trump, I think, are related to each other in some way, from fashion. Even Obama was DEI to some degree, right? It's like the Drake DEI. No, I'm serious. It's like Obama did not rise to the ranks because of him being black, and I don't know why people confuse that. Not because of his African or his Kenyan specifically father or stepfather. It was because of his white CIA fucking mother. That's how he was able to avoid the problems that most of us would have to deal with. Like he got DEI, but it won't because of his side. Where is all this extreme level of incompetence coming from? Because now that you hell, who they gonna blame? They ain't got no black people. They have no black people in the administration. The closest thing I got to color is Cash Patel and Tulsi. So Polynesian and Southeast Asian. So who y'all gonna blame for all this blatant level of incompetence, this failure? This laughable. I mean, it's a train wreck, y'all. Y'all motherfuckers don't know how to use cell phones, don't know how to use encrypted emails. Like, it's laughable. And I'm just like, yo, y'all really got to try to convince people that, oh man, we're worried that one day a black female pilot who logged the exact same amount of flight hours is gonna be flying a plane because of DEI, and I don't trust her. What the fuck? Yeah. Y'all out here sending encrypted email, and y'all lucky Goldberg is a shiesty piece of shit who isn't a real journalist, because any real journalist is dropping that shit. I'm dropping that info before y'all attack any. I'm telling you. Any real journalist, you ain't passing that opportunity up. A real journalist. Y'all lucky Goldberg is shiesty, a piece of shit, and is loyal to the empire. Calling the White House and snitching on myself and pulling myself out the group chat. Yeah, right. Nope. Y'all wouldn't even know I was in there. Y'all had to kick me out. But y'all are lucky, because a whole group of y'all just would have been exposed. And who y'all gonna blame? DEI? I just, the narrative they put out there. The narrative they put out there to justify their stupidity, to scapegoat whoever, like, because they don't have, they create problems that they then can't find solutions for, and then to avoid the consequences and accountability for the problems that they create that they can't find solutions for, they got to blame somebody. So they're like, yeah, DEI, it's the black people. Yep, it's them. We weren't giving them equal opportunity to begin with, but now we have to take any opportunity that we gave them away because they don't even know what to do with it. Yeah, it's them. It's definitely them. Okay, y'all in charge again. How that looking? Like, maybe we should just hire the most qualified people. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should try not to exclude people because of their color. Like, if you, I get it. I'm not. If I hired somebody because of their experience, it wouldn't be because of their color. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be nice if y'all had, if your racial background added to your experience, which is oftentimes the case. That is a great thing, but like half the Democratic Party ain't qualified to do shit because they leaned away from their experience and actually leaned into their whiteness to fit in. Right? Okay. They want to be part of that little club. But like, there's a lot of black people in the Democratic Party I wouldn't hire to work with me. And I don't give a shit about their race. So how about we hire people because of their experience, what they can contribute, rather than because they're your fucking little butt buddy, your cousin went to the same country club as you, got the same, y'all grandpas were out there hunting slaves together and shit. Like, what? Sorry, y'all. I just can't believe what we said. And everybody trying to convince me it was DEI. Oh, baby Jesus. Yep. South African, man. He said they was racist. He said they're racist because they don't. That's why they won't let him do business in South Africa. That's why they won't let him put Starlink in South Africa, because they're racist. You know what? If I was a South African like leader, I might not be racist, but yeah, I might be a little bit skeptical of an apartheid baby who left South Africa, who got rich off of South Africa, come back after using the U.S.'s money to get rich again, like get richer, become a rich man in the world. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna let you put your motherfucking satellites and make more money off the people you just got done fucking robbing. Yeah, I'm not racist, but I'm racist against you and the people who has locked up in a fucking apartheid. I got a problem with you. Yes, I would have a problem with that. I think that anybody would. But that's a different conversation for a different day, y'all. Thank you all so much for tuning into the live stream segment. Y'all the best. Miss you guys. And we went for a long time today. But like I said, I knew we had a long week, bro. I missed you guys. Long couple of weeks. For those of you who missed the announcement, yes, I am having a baby. That's where I've been dealing with all that craziness and didn't want to make the announcement until the family knew. So, yep, you can contribute to the baby bills in the comment in the description below. You can donate to the Cash App. Become a Patreon, become a subscriber. Because y'all know, like I said in the beginning, reverse ATM machines. Like, you know, you can pull your money out and you spend it. Yeah, babies are reverse ATM machines. You put money in and you don't ever see that shit again. You don't know where it goes. But I'm happy. And y'all, I need y'all positive energy, y'all. I need y'all positive because I need my princess. We don't know the sex yet, but I need my princess. I need a princess to spoil. Please pray for a beautiful baby girl. Beautiful, healthy baby girl. That's what I'm aiming for. And hopefully my aim is straight. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I aim right the first time. You know what I'm saying? Try to hit it twice. Pop, pop. Anyway. Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you all so much. Like this video. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Follow us on Telegram. Follow it. Thank you, Trash Panda. Appreciate you. All those links are in the description. Patreon, Telegram, channel subscriber. All that good stuff. You can also, I guess, tip now on X too recently. I don't know. But yeah, appreciate you guys so much and miss you guys. And we're going to, depending on what the hell happens tonight, I might even end up streaming tomorrow because it's too much, man. I was like, bro, fucking getting anxious trying to find some time to stream. It was just, you know, I just with life couldn't get it done. But yeah, now we got all the initial appointments out the way. I think we're gonna have to start talking about this shit. It's a train wreck of an administration. And I feel like I am not doing you guys a good enough service reporting on how much of a train wreck this administration has been. I'm trying to through Hotspot when I get, you know, because we do Hotspot videos every day. So it's different. But like, I feel like we need to be talking about this shit at length. We need to spend as much time exposing this train because I didn't get enough time to do it with the Biden administration. And then like, just to watch these people that were talking so much shit. Like Heck said, it was his job to talk shit about the Biden administration. Like, you know, Trump, with all the shit that he accused the Biden administration of doing, he's doing right now. These motherfuckers are human trafficking people on their side. Like, these are the Venezuelans that came here thinking like, yeah, man, Trump, yeah, man. Those are those type of Venezuelans, like the Gusano Cubans, like those, because they got deported too. I don't know if you heard about that. Yeah, the Gusano Cubans who thought like, yeah, we can't wait till Trump wins because we gonna be part of the family. They found out, nah, D, I don't work like that because you Cubano, you were not one of us. You thought that, huh? Nope, deported they motherfuckers too. Yeah, man, it's been a train wreck. I don't give a shit what nobody say. It's been a fucking train wreck, and I gotta figure out a way to cover this more. Because, I'm not sure. Like I said, hopefully through the chaos, we get some enlightenment. That's what I'm hoping is the result of this administration. Because I don't expect anything good to come from it. But enlightenment. I said we've had this conversation before where I said there are some things that you just kind of have to wait for the damage to be done for people to wake up and for us to see the change that we need. When it comes to these administrations, I said, what's going to happen? We already passed the point where people who realize Bernie is a fraud. Thank fucking God. Yeah, that's out the door. That train has already taken out. That boat has already set sail. But I said we're not going to get real change in the U.S. and around the world really until MAGA wakes up, because a lot of them are very well-meaning. A lot of them you can have a conversation with, I'll have a beer with, man. We'll agree on all the problems of the world and even agree on some of the solutions of the world. And we'll agree on what the problems aren't even sometimes. But then there's a point where they still believe that this system will allow, even if Trump was well-meaning, they believe that this system will allow Trump to save them. And they need to be betrayed. Y'all need to be failed in the most extreme fashion possible. Like now. Watch your favorite influence fucking sell you out. Sell out to whoever and whomever. Pretend like the Epstein files. Look at the Epstein files. Look at my little book. I'm in the in club. Look at me. Get to the White House. Let me see my picture with Trump. Oh yeah, Elon. Why sell you out to Elon? Tell you 2 years ago, a year ago, fuck the fourth industrial revolution, only to tell you to go buy a EV from Elon. Come on, guys. Like, we need this. Please, Trump, keep doing what you're doing. Because we need your people to wake up so we can get a revolution in this bitch. That's what we need. We need you to keep fucking up. And you are doing such a great job leading us on a revolution. And you're doing it way faster than I thought you would. Honestly, like we're kind of ahead of schedule. I thought it was going to take a little bit for you to start acting like a whole ass. I thought it was going to take a little bit before y'all start actively adding journalists into war group chat and then start committing perjury in Congress. I thought it was going to take a little bit. I thought it was going to take a little bit for Elon to break. No, I did not. No, I actually did not. I literally said, if y'all remember on the show and on Twitter, I was like, Elon is not going to handle politics well. I don't know why he's doing this to himself. He's not built for this. Because he likes having, he's got daddy issues. He wants to be pat on the head all the time. That's not politics. He's too thin-skinned. Yeah, it's already showing. He's already unraveling. All of that shit, like, you are ahead of schedule, bitch. It is, what is it? It is March. It's March 26th. And this administration is a fucking train wreck. It's a train wreck, y'all. Please. Look, we already survived 4 years of Biden. Like we said, it can't actually get much worse. It really can't. It's not like you're doing necessarily everything worse. It's like you're basically maintaining. But the problem is for your people, you said that you were the opposite. But nah, you're not going to be the deporter in chief. You turn into the fucking human trafficker in chief. Come on, bro. The human you a human trafficking motherfuckers to El Salvador. And even the lawyers out there are like, yeah, we kind of didn't even want them here. We're here because we got called here. But if Venezuela could take them back, that will also be awesome because we have no idea how this situation works. And they probably don't even want to ask no questions because then you know what the answer is going to be: somebody paid somebody. Somebody paid somebody, right? Okay. Human trafficker in chief. That's who you are now. And they're watching their influencers sell them out. And to be frank, a lot of them are getting called out for it. To be fair. And I'm happy to see that. Yeah, there's a lot of sycophants, but like that bot shit, that bot farm, that shit, that look, the Matrix breaks. Even the Matrix breaks. Y'all remember they did in the movie, what was it? 6 versions of the Matrix. They had to do 6 versions of it before they got to Neo. Because the Matrix breaks. As well as it can be built, as many safety nets as they put in to protect, the Matrix breaks. And what we are witnessing right now is the Matrix breaking in real time. And I'm going to try to enjoy it, try to enjoy it for what I can. It's sad, but like we're at the point where if people are too comfortable, if we are all too comfortable, no one does anything. And now people are pissed off enough on the left that we ain't rocking with none of that shit. Right? We know where we stand on war, period. It don't matter if it's Gaza or Russia and Ukraine. No. Respect sovereignty. Don't break international law. And if you get your ass handed to you by resistance, that's your fault. Don't be a fucking dictatorial piece of shit. Don't commit genocide. I'm anti-imperialist. I'm not a pacifist. There's a difference. We know where we stand on our issues when it comes to humanity. And we know that even though we might like an individual but that does not make you above criticism, my guy. Which is how it should be. As long as we're criticizing genuinely and with facts. But y'all got to get over this cult shit with MAGA, like with Trump. Y'all got to get over it. But, as long as he's their economy, they will continue to push it. So we got to tell the truth, y'all. I already told MAGA people that jumped up in here before. I said, hey, y'all do know Trump ain't off limits. Just because I had to attack Biden don't mean I'm about to spend all my time fucking defending Trump. Here we are. All right. Subscribe, y'all. Subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Real NikoDHouse, at Hotspot. Love you guys. Always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.